It's the Rodeo Roadshow on the Western Ag Network. Hi, everybody. I'm Will Rasmussen. Today, my great friend and colleague, rodeo announcer Wayne Brooks, five-time announcer of the year. He's announced the National Finals Rodeo a dozen times, and I'm lucky enough to announce the California Rodeo Salinas in California, where we are right now. Some stuff, good stuff, from my great friend Wayne Brooks on the Roadshow next.
Hi, I'm Lander Nicodemus with Torrington Livestock Markets. As a livestock market owner and a member of the LMA, I believe it is time for our industry to align and drive meaningful changes that will safeguard a future for ranchers. I'm asking all who are hearing this to sign on to this effort as we work to achieve and maintain ag-friendly tax policy, improve risk management tools, access to labor, flexibility for livestock haulers, and create support for young and emerging livestock producers. Now is the time. Learn more and sign on at commongroundsummit.net.
The American Lamb Summit is headed to Moscow, Idaho, July 23rd through the 25th. This premier event is your opportunity to engage with all segments of the sheep industry as we explore the newest trends and opportunities to boost the competitiveness of the U.S. sheep market. And the Western Ag Network's coverage is sponsored by the American Sheep Industry Association. Since 1865, ASI has been representing the interests of U.S. sheep producers. For more information about the American Lamb Summit, visit lambboard.com.
Rodeo Roadshow this week, the great Wayne Brooks. We are on Highway 101 in California, somewhere between San Jose and Salinas, and we've both stayed in hotels for the last month and a half, and I was just thinking, Wayne, it's all glitz and glimmer, isn't it, this announces?
Neons and nylons, yeah. Yeah, big thick steaks and expensive wine. I leave 1st of June, get a week off in August, and then don't get home again till 1st of October. So it's the old, you got to make hay while the sun shines, and you're the same way. I know. Yeah. I know. Summertime's covered up, and we are two of the most blessed guys in the world.
That's what I was. Yeah,
I think. Work.
Yeah, that's good. And we're headed. You just got done with the greatest show on dirt, I think they call it, up in Calgary Stampede. Talk about that.
Oh gosh, it's a high quality event because it's an invitational only. So they've got 3 groups of 30 contestants. Let me try that again here. 3 groups of 10 contestants in each event. So your grand total contestants is 210. So your quality control is over the top.
I'm Will Rasmussen on the Western Ag Network.
Shereen, the Adventure Queen, filling in for Jake Cowboy, State Daily Morning Show. Glad to be here. Day number 1 for my neck of the woods for the balloon rally in central Wyoming. Big balloon rally happens this year every single time, and it's so much fun. I absolutely love it. And every time I jump on the show, I have a chance to give you a little look into our world here at Gardner Farms and kind of what we have going on here. So hopefully I'll call Mr. Gardner of Gardner Farms and see if we can get him.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hold on one second. I got to figure out where my FaceTime is. There we go. There we go. That was my, hold on. I got to, I don't know if I can get you on here. I'm sorry. One second. Oh, I don't know. Well, I think people can hear you, so that's good. Hang on one second. Chad, I will call you back, Mr. Gardner.
All right.
Thank you. All right. I can't seem to get the video screen to work out at Gardner Farms there, so, things are always a little bit hard in Wyoming when it comes to service, so that's what I've been dealing with all morning long. Tech sometimes is your best friend and sometimes it's just not. So hopefully we'll get Chad on and get a look at Gardner Farms here just momentarily and be able to kind of get a look into the corn that is about as tall as Chad, who's 6'3". So that's always crazy to be able to realize that somebody who's 6'2", 6'3", there's corn in Wyoming that's as tall as they are. So again, we'll get Chad Gardner on with Gardner Farms here as soon as I can figure out what's going on with the video screen at Gardner Farms in the cornfield. Again, sometimes the service just isn't always what you want it here in Wyoming. So that's kind of how that works there. So, all right. Well, we have breaking news, cowboystatedaily.com on the House voting to defund NPR and PBS. That has been the number one story online. You can find it if you head to cowboystatedaily.com and make sure that you subscribe to the Cowboy State Daily newsletter. Stay in the know as well, and you'll get that breaking information on your email first thing in the morning. Let's take a look at the report from Wyoming Game and Fish.
Life jacket use by Wyoming boaters this summer seems to be slipping a bit. Some reminders next on the Wyoming Outdoorsman. I'm Ray Hageman. Boating season is already into July, and the Wyoming Game and Fish Department and Wyoming State Parks reminds all boaters, from motorized to paddlers, to be prepared and be sure watercraft are outfitted with the required safety equipment. Aaron Corr, Game and Fish Law Enforcement Supervisor, says, "We can't emphasize enough how important it is to have a life jacket for all of the passengers on your watercraft. It's the law, and life jackets are proven to save lives." Corr says that means you need a life jacket aboard all watercraft, including kayaks, canoes, even stand-up paddle boards. Boaters are required to have a life jacket available for each individual on board. Life jackets must be properly sized, U.S. Coast Guard approved, and in good condition. They cannot be waterlogged, torn, or have straps broken or missing. Life jackets also need to be readily accessible to the passengers on board. Children 12 years old and under are required to wear a life jacket while the boat is underway unless they're inside an enclosed cabin. Anyone being towed by a boat while the boat is underway unless they're inside an enclosed cabin. Anyone being towed by a boat, wake surfing, or riding on a personal watercraft such as a jet ski is required to wear a life jacket as well. U.S. Coast Guard statistics show drowning was the reported cause of death in 75% of boating fatalities in 2023. 87% of those who drowned were not wearing life jackets. Other requirements: a minimum of one U.S. Coast Guard throwable flotation device, which includes ring buoys and float cushions, aboard boats 16 feet and longer that are motorized. A proper fire extinguisher on any boat that has an inboard engine, permanently installed fuel tank, closed living space, double bottoms not sealed to the hull, or compartments that store fuel tanks or other combustible materials. Multiple extinguishers may be needed depending on the size of the boat. All operators must be at least 16 years old, obey any buoys or markers in the water, and avoid reckless or careless operation. Additionally, boating under the influence of alcohol and or drugs is illegal. Alcohol use is the leading known contributing factor in fatal boating accidents. That's according to the U.S. Coast Guard. This has been the Wyoming Outdoorsman, a program by the Wyoming Game and Fish Department. Thanks for listening. I'm Ray Hageman.
Wyoming is the cowboy state. From corner to corner, there are so many stories to be told, and more cowboys and cowgirls are turning to the Cowboy State Daily News team to keep them in touch with what's happening both locally and in other parts of Wyoming. I'm Riley Strand, videographer and production assistant for Cowboy State Daily Video News. We're proud to bring the most important stories to our viewers every day. The stories that start conversations, the stories that make us laugh, the stories that make us think. Our experienced journalists at Cowboy State Daily are crisscrossing the state every day, talking to those who know the news best. Every day, host Wendy, Corr, and I talk to the reporters who are covering the topics, issues, and people that are important to Wyomingites. And in our daily newscast, we bring you those stories. Tune into the Cowboy State Daily Video Newscast every morning, only on cowboystatedaily.com.
You're listening to the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Logan Wilson here at the M Building in Casper, Wyoming. They do more than just support businesses and private events. They support nonprofits by offering reduced rates to help the community thrive. The staff here at the M Building have been incredible in helping me organize a fantastic event. They are great partners for those who want to make a positive impact on the community. Come check out the M for your next event.
In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. I grew up on tour with my parents. Kind of different, but we bonded over music just like other families do over sports, camping, or other interests. And we talked. Little everyday conversations from silly to serious that built a foundation over time. Honest conversations, like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic.
Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life. And I was so grateful that you and Mom had become these sober, stable people who were always there for me.
I wanted you to know from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs, whether it's music or anything else. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
We are back. It's Friday morning, Cowboy State Daily Morning Show. I'm Shireen filling in for Jake on a warm weekend across Wyoming. We'll be in the 90s here in central Wyoming. Today we have a little bit of a cool down in the upper 80s. So when I say a little bit of a cool down, I mean a little bit. We did have a pretty good cool down where we had temps in the 70s and the overnight low was right around 50, which when I normally get up 5:30, 5 a.m., it's in the mid to upper 50s, or has been this summer. It's been a little warm, but able to have a bit of relief on Thursday morning, or was it Wednesday morning? One of those 2 days, it was really a cool day, and actually both of them were fairly easy to navigate in this hot, warm sun studio. I broadcast from the Funny Farm here, and Gardner Farms, part of Gardner Farms anyways, and it gets warm in here. It's a sunroom, and I keep avoiding putting the air conditioning in here. I'm like, and then I keep telling myself, well, summer's almost over, so now what's the point? Well, when I'm about dying from heat exhaustion at 8:30, 9 a.m. in the morning, it might be time to put the air conditioning back in the sunroom. I take all the ACs out of the house in the winter, and I put them down in the basement. And I left the one for the sunroom in the basement. And I thought, well, hey, maybe we'll say we have a wedding, so we're trying to save as much money as possible. So I thought, well, we'll save a little bit of money on the electricity bill and not use the AC in the sunroom. Well, now I'm really regretting that. As a matter of fact, I'm about ready to shed a layer here. It's just getting so extremely warm for me here. But it does every day. Every single day it gets warm here in the sunroom when it comes to summertime, especially this summer. It's been really, really warm this summer. All right, we have a guest in our Zoom room here. We've got the Dino Dude, Andrew Rozy. Andrew, how are you? You there, Andrew? There he is. Hopefully, Andrew, you there? Can you hear me? Andrew, can you hear me?
Just barely.
Just barely. Okay, well, let's see here. Can you hear me better there?
No.
Okay. Well, let's see. I don't know if this will. Can you hear me better now?
Nope, same level. I can't hear you, though.
Okay, well, I can hear you beautifully. So, Andrew, tell the folks what you've been up to. I know you've been busy. You've been doing some tours, the Dino Dude, lots of great stories with Cowboy State Daily. But what's happening in Andrew Rozy's world?
Oh, it's just the summer. Summer's always, I have a saying that no matter where you live in Cody, Wyoming, no matter what you do in Cody, Wyoming, you're busy during the summer, and that's holding true once again. It's been relentless.
Well, it's been a warm summer as well, and people are flocking to Wyoming per usual. How is the visitors been and the tourists in Cody area?
Well, it's always seems pretty busy downtown, and everyone's grumbling about how long it takes to get anywhere, which, I mean, never takes more than 10 minutes to get anywhere in Cody. So it seems like there's plenty of tourist traffic. If you talk to the businesses, I'd imagine they might have different stories about how the summer's been going, but there's been kind of an ebb and a flow from what I've understood, which is pretty typical for this time of year.
Um, yeah, it's obviously typical for Cody being one of the entrances to Yellowstone National Park. Andrew, I have a question for you. I like your mustache. It seems like
Thank you.
it's grown since the last time I saw you on the show.
Yeah, I have not trimmed it or shaved it since the. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, kind of. I'm going to make sure. I'm going to change you back over to this one here. Maybe that helps a little bit there. When did you, how long has it been since you've shaved it or did any trimming to it?
Mid or early May. I kind of lost track after a while.
Yeah, I was going to say the last time I filled in for Jake, I think was in April, maybe even March. I can't remember. And yeah, it's looking great, Andrew. It's looking really good. So I love that.
Well, thank you. I only need it for another 2 weeks, and then I'm going to be very eager to get my trimmers out and get rid of it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I can't wait to chat with you then. And are you going to get rid of the whole thing or?
Whole thing.
The whole thing. All right, Andrew, appreciate you chatting this morning, Cowboy State Daily Morning Show. And of course, you can find all of Andrew's articles online with cowboystatedaily.com. You'll be on the show next week, so people can tune in and see you then. Bye, Andrew. All right, Andrew Rozy, also known as the Dino Dude. Love all of his articles with cowboystatedaily.com, and I follow him on socials too, and he does a lot of cool stuff. He was recently just given a little tour to some children, giving back to the youth. So cowboystatedaily.com. Make sure that you subscribe to the Cowboy State Daily newsletter. Stay in the know. Breaking news, great articles, great videos, reminders on Wendy, Corr, and the Roundup podcast, and so much more with cowboystatedaily.com.
Wyoming is the cowboy state. From corner to corner, there are so many stories to be told, and more cowboys and cowgirls are turning to the Cowboy State Daily news team to keep them in touch with what's happening both locally and in other parts of Wyoming. I'm Riley Strand, videographer and production assistant for Cowboy State Daily Video News. We're proud to bring the most important stories to our viewers every day. The stories that start conversations, the stories that make us laugh, the stories that make us think. Our experienced journalists at Cowboy State Daily are crisscrossing the state every day, talking to those who know the news best. Every day, host Wendy, Corr, and I talk to the reporters who are covering the topics, issues, and people that are important to Wyomingites. And in our daily newscast, we bring you those stories. Tune into the Cowboy State Daily video newscast every morning, only on cowboystatedaily.com.
You're listening to the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Logan Wilson here at the M Building in Casper, Wyoming. They do more than just support businesses and private events. They support nonprofits by offering reduced rates to help the community thrive. The staff here at the M Building have been incredible in helping me organize a fantastic event. They are great partners for those who want to make a positive impact on the community. Come check out the M for your next event.
In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. I grew up on tour with my parents. Kind of different, but we bonded over music just like other families do over sports, camping, or other interests. And we talked. Little everyday conversations from silly to serious that built a foundation over time. Honest conversations, like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic.
Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life. And I was so grateful that you and Mom had become these sober, stable people who were always there for me.
I wanted you to know from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs, whether it's music or anything else. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Welcome back. It's Friday morning, Cowboy State Daily Morning Show. I'm Shireen filling in for Jake. It's a great day. Beautiful morning in central Wyoming, and I'm just glad to be here and glad to be joining the Cowboy State Daily Morning Show. So many great folks. If you've got a question, if you've got something you want us to talk about, if you've got a shout out for Jake and you're missing him this morning, leave a comment, cowboystatedaily.com. I'm trying to get Mr. Gardner on for Gardner Farms, and so I need to figure out how to do that. But in the meantime, while I'm figuring that out, this has been the topic of conversation. The House votes to defund NPR and PBS. A lot of folks yesterday, it was unknown on what would happen when it came to this situation. And so as we see the details, cowboystatedaily.com, 216 to 213 on that. So you can get the full story, cowboystatedaily.com. And if you subscribe to that newsletter, you can stay in the know even more. So, yeah, it's just absolutely crazy because this was the topic. I wasn't sure what would happen. And then late last night, the word comes out on this. And first thing in the morning, what do I get? An email from Cowboy State Daily telling me the news. So really important there, and hoping that you read the story and share it if you're curious about it. And if you know folks that have been wondering what's going on with that, send them the information and let them know. It's a busy weekend in our world here with the balloon rally that's happening. We have our big balloon rally, and we also have our pig roast in Lander, which is awesome. Lander, Wyoming has the big pig roast, and that has free lunch. Of course, they're roasting a pig, live music, and all kinds of fun there. So it's a busy weekend in central Wyoming. It's a busy weekend in general. Cheyenne Frontier Days is kicking off, the 129th daddy of them all, kicking off with Ian Munsick and Travis Tritt. And that right there is going to be a show worth seeing. So I have a little kitten in here. I wanted to be able to show the kitten off, but it ran underneath the couch over there. So little kitten will not be on the show. Although I do have two other barn cats I'm trying to find homes for. Let's see if I can get this FaceTime to work. Just don't know. Let's see. I'm trying to get Mr. Gardner on. We'll see if we can do this yet again here.
Hello again.
Hello. I don't know if you're going to actually be on the screen, though. That's the bummer part. I can't seem to get you. You're on audio, Mr. Gardner, Gardner Farms. I got one pick here. Gardner Farms, your pick is up. Hello, Mr.
Perfect.
Gardner. How are you?
Oh, just dandy.
All right, Mr. Gardner, something I wanted to talk to you about real quick for the folks that are paying attention and listening to the Cowboy State Daily Morning Show happened to be about President Trump talking about wanting Coca-Cola to use cane sugar again. Now, does Coca-Cola use whatever that other stuff is called?
They've been using high fructose corn syrup for quite a few years.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I couldn't think of the word. Sorry.
No problem. I'm a big fan. They're marketing it as real cane sugar, but real sugar is real sugar.
So this means good news. If President Trump is saying that he wants cane sugar back in Coca-Cola, does that directly help out sugar beet farmers, which is kind of a competitor of cane sugar?
So we are, but we are still in the real sugar market.
Cool.
You know, you got to remember Coca-Cola's headquarters is in the South, where cane sugar's raised. Up here in the North, we have real sugar and the logistics of it. If they got a, I don't know what you call a pop house up here, I'm pretty sure they'll use sugar beet sugar because there'll be no difference.
That's awesome. And so this is good news for a lot of Wyoming sugar beet farmers.
I believe it is.
So I did want to get a video of you, and I apologize that I wasn't able to get that working for those of you that are watching right now. But if you're just tuning in, we have Chad Gardner, who is the man behind Gardner Farms, and he farms sugar beets, corn, and barley, and sometimes some hay. And I wanted you to see his corn, which is about as tall as you're 6'2" or 6'3".
Yeah, depends on what store I'm leaving.
6'2", and the corn is up to your shoulder. Where's it at?
I have some at my shoulder height, and I was actually standing out in the field waiting for you to call to show you guys some. That's well over my head.
Wow, well over your head. Now, is this normal for corn to be that tall this time of year?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of, and by especially up in our region, knee high by the 4th of July, it'll make corn. I was hip high, so.
It was knee to me, right? Or
well, it was well over your knee, more like your belly button or better.
right. Yeah, so knee high by the 4th of July is the saying that corn farmers use.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, appreciate you taking the time. I know it was a little bit to get you on here. I wish we could have had the video option working for you and able to show off your beautiful cornfield, but maybe they'll have me fill in again. I'm not sure. But if they do, I would love to show off your corn and see how tall it is at that point. When do you start harvesting?
So hard corn we won't harvest until end August, November, sometimes as late as December.
All right, Chad Gardner, Gardner Farms. It was a pleasure having you on, Mr. Gardner. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye.
All right, that was awesome, Gardner Farms. Cowboy State Daily Morning Show. I'm Shireen, filling in for Jake.
It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming. From the Cowboy State Daily Newsroom, I'm Wendy Corr. A young, petite, pregnant woman found dead with beating and strangulation injuries 33 years ago in a ditch 15 miles north of Sheridan has been identified. The woman, who has been known as I-90 Jane Doe for the past 3 decades, has been identified as Cindy Arlene Estrada by the Wyoming Division of Criminal Investigation. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland says Estrada was one of 2 Wyoming victims in the case of alleged serial killer Clark Perry Baldwin.
I've been watching for this for a while because they identified Bitter Creek Betty, who was found March 1992 off the interstate in Sweetwater County with strangulation and other injuries, killed. And so then a month after that, they found a woman they called I-90 Jane Doe, petite, pregnant, young, also dead with strangulation marks in Sheridan off of the interstate.
Estrada was identified using her mother's DNA. Prior to the publication of this news story, there was essentially no publicly available information on Estrada online. All that's known is that she was born in Torrance, California, and was 21 years old when she was killed. Western Wyoming irrigators are frustrated after having their water shut off earlier than normal to send Colorado River Basin water downstream, despite what appeared to be a promising winter snowpack. Cowboy State Daily's David Madison reports that an upcoming public meeting in Pinedale is one of 4 outreach meetings Wyoming officials are hosting to discuss the state's role in managing Colorado River water.
The mighty Colorado River begins its life in Wyoming in the high in the Wind River Range. It feeds into the Upper Green River and the Little Snake River. And so Wyoming is a part of this collective, this compact of states that's charged by Congress in a very old compact to manage that water.
The amount of water Wyoming gets to keep as a member of the more than 100-year-old congressionally created Colorado River Compact will depend on what happens during negotiations over the next several months. If Republicans want to fine-tune their bill to claw back $9.4 billion in federal payouts, including defunding PBS and NPR, they're running out of time. The U.S. House has a legal deadline of Friday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time to vote on the proposed $1.1 billion in cuts to public television and radio. Cowboy State Daily's Sean Berry reports that the cuts are part of a rescissions package, a clawback of funds previously allocated by Congress. By law, these unusual measures must be passed by both chambers of Congress no later than 45 days after formally requested by the president.
It's also something that only requires a simple majority vote. And if you've heard that story before, it's because the Republicans use simple majority vote procedures a lot in order to avoid the 60-vote Senate threshold when they know they're not going to get any help. And now they're doing it this way, by taking existing funding and yanking it from those agencies, in this case, public broadcasting.
As of the time this story was published Thursday, the House was in recess and hadn't voted on the cuts. I'll be back with more news right after this.
Find expert vascular care right here in Wyoming. Wyoming Interventional and Vascular Associates, or WIVA, is a division of Casper Medical Imaging and is home to experienced subspecialized physicians and physician assistants who provide comprehensive services to treat vascular disease. From PAD and AAA to venous disease, WIVA offers tailored solutions to get you back to enjoying the things you love. Schedule a consultation with WIVA today at caspermedicalimaging.net/WIVA or by calling 307-577-1003.
A Yellowstone National Park black bear with a taste for human food and willing to dangerously ransack campsites to get it was lethally removed from the area. Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rozy reports that a determined adult female black bear had to be killed July 11th after what the National Park Service called a series of concerning incidents at a backcountry campsite in the Blacktail Deer Creek drainage.
The incidents all occurred at a backcountry campsite in the northern section of Yellowstone. And when you're out there, the park mandates that you either suspend your food with these poles or you keep them in a bear-proof box. Well, this black bear had previously crushed a tent, but it also figured out how to pull down those poles to get at the food that was being stored overhead. So because it had shown such intelligence and such potentially dangerous behavior and gotten a reward out of it, Yellowstone staff decided the only thing that they could do to ensure everyone's safety was to kill the bear and remove it from the park's population.
This was the first black bear to be put down by Yellowstone wildlife officials in 5 years. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by clicking on the daily newsletter button at cowboystatedaily.com. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.
Christopher Holton. I'm very active. It was a Saturday morning. Normally I go for my normal walk.
With no warning, Chris suffered a near-fatal heart attack. But thankfully, Brian Buckley, a bystander, saw him collapse and rushed to help.
He did this big gasp for air and then just stopped. It's like I went into autopilot. It's like all that training I did back in the day around CPR just magically came out of nowhere.
Because of the CPR training that Brian received, Chris did make it and didn't die on the trail that day. CPR training provided by the American Heart Association.
Looking at your hands, these two hands could save a life.
Being a father, you want to be around. You want to be around for your kids.
Heart disease is America's #1 killer. To learn more about how the American Heart Association helps save lives, go to helpheart.org.
All right, we are back in the Zoom room with the one and only Mr. Bill Sniffen. Bill, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing just great. How about you? It looks like you have a cat in your hand.
Yeah, I have a kitten. I finally got the kitten to come join the show. This is Selena, and she's a feral cat, and she hates being inside. I'm trying to make her an inside cat, but it's kind of tough, so I wanted to show her. I have other barn cats if anybody needs a kitten, but she's pretty cute, isn't she, Bill?
Yeah, who doesn't love a kitten? Holy smokes,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there she goes. She'll be whining in the background, though, I'm sure, because she wants to go outside. So anyways, Mr. Sniffen, welcome. I'm filling in for Jake this morning. Glad to have you on.
Glad to be on, and I enjoyed a long time ago you filled in, and we got to talking about tourism, and of course, that's my favorite subject. It occurred to me, I'm in my 80th year, and I honestly don't know I honestly don't know anybody who's promoted tourism in Wyoming as much as I have. I've published about 3.5 million magazines and 3 coffee table books that I've sold 40,000 copies of. And I write a weekly column that's constantly talking about tourism, and done that for, again, 55 years in the state. And I'm thinking, holy mackerel, and now I'll get to talk tourism with you, which is what I would like to do today. And of course, I enjoyed listening to you talk about the big weekend in Fremont County, because of course I live in Fremont County too.
Yep.
And it's I actually say it's more than a weekend. It's about a 10-day stretch here with from the 4th until the 18th. It's a 2-week stretch, really, where we have Gold Rush days up in South Pass City, and we have Frontier days in Lander, and we have, of course, the rendezvous, and we have all these wonderful things. But so Fremont County, and in fact, I'll share a little anecdote with you. I did my 3rd coffee table book was a book that the state of Wyoming asked me to do. It was called Wyoming at 125. And it was a history book, and I met with the leading historians in the state, and because I don't consider myself a historian, I call myself a journalist with an interest in history, and but I started in December with a blank sheet of paper for this book, and I met with these folks, and they cautioned me. In fact, they admonished me, and you'll love this as a Fremont County, and they said, now, don't make this book all about Fremont County, because Fremont County has so much history with the Oregon Trail and the Pony Express and South Pass City and the reservation and the ancient forts and the Indian wars. And I mean, it's just unbelievable. And I always had to laugh and say, trust me, when I do a coffee table book, I cover the whole state. In fact, the one thing people have been unanimous in being is that my books always cover the whole state. There's so much to see, and of course we're dominated by these gigantic national parks like Yellowstone and Grand Teton, and then of course the first national monument in Devil's Tower. But what people don't know about is the Boer Buffalo Jump up in Sundance, or the Medicine Wheel, of course, high in the Bighorn Mountains, or Fossil Butte National Monument down in Kemmer, or Flaming Gorge down in Sweetwater County, and the fantastic Bear River Recreation Area in Evanston, and then Afton and Star Valley, all the beautiful, beautiful, wonderful things over there. And the state is just loaded. And so I thought I'd maybe make that the topic of our conversation today, and just go around the state and suggest some places for people to go. Because one of the things that I've always tried to do is convince Wyoming people to go to other Wyoming attractions.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
If you live in Newcastle up in the Northeast, you might go off to South Dakota to see something. Well, turn around and go down to Casper and check out Casper Mountain, and check out the Fremont Canyons and the reservoirs.
Mm-hmm.
And Casper area is spectacular. The National Trails Museum is there, and or go over to Fremont County, and like we just got done talking about. But it's just fantastic what we have in Wyoming. And so my mission has always been not only to get people from out of state to come see our wonderful attractions, but to get people in the state to go see our attractions. And I've been to Yellowstone every year for 54 straight years. I haven't been there yet this year. And it's actually my all-time favorite place. So here I talk about all the other things, and yet Yellowstone is my favorite place.
Well, it's hard to beat Yellowstone.
Well, it is, but yet you would be surprised at how many people either have never live in Wyoming that have never been to Yellowstone, or maybe went once 30 years ago or something. And
well, I lived outside of Glacier National Park, and I never went because it was always what the tourists and the visitors did, and all the locals never went. And then I finally went up there, and I was like, why in the world have I not been up here all this time?
Yeah, I know that area very well. I used to own the newspaper up in Whitefish in Columbia Falls, so I know that area very well. And yes, Glacier Park is a national jewel. But you know, it's again the thing that I tell people is that the other thing that's fun is just mingling with the people. And you were talking about that balloon rally is so much fun to get involved with those balloons. And I've done that a few years where you chase a balloon, you try to help them. And there's been some interesting times. Those are not just you can't really guide them. They do pretty well. You can get them up and down, but
Right.
getting them to go left and right
Well,
is a little hard to do.
Yeah, Bill, and we've had issues. We had the cops called on us a couple years ago because they landed in somebody's fenced off farm and the farmer got mad, which it happens. But like Bill said, they're really hard to, guide and direct besides the up and down portion of it. And Bill, now that we have more and more construction and more places going up, I think that Amazon fulfillment center is going in between Haskell's and the Hampton Inn. That has commonly been a route and a place that a lot of the hot air balloons have landed. So now we're finding that more and more, they're landing balloons. I landed in some sort of, when I flew, I landed in over by Rendezvous Ponds, but in the backyard of somebody's business. And it was all fenced in. We had to have them come unlock the gate for us. So it's hard to navigate.
Well, it really is. And again, one of the craziest things about Wyoming is we are officially the most windy state in Wyoming, or not in Wyoming, in the country. And but Lander is one of the 10 least windy places in America. And so is Riverton. Riverton it isn't like Casper, Cody,
right,
Rollins, Cheyenne, all these Laramie. These places get a lot of wind. And we don't. And there's these 4 or 5 little towns, Lander, Riverton, Thermopolis, Worland, Sheridan, that for some reason don't get a lot of wind. But boy, the rest of the state is a really windy place. Hence, the balloon rally makes a lot of sense in Riverton. I knew Bob Peck very well, the man that I was a newspaper publisher in Lander, and he was a newspaper publisher in Riverton, and he was anxious to come up with some kind of an event. And I think he'd been down to Albuquerque and saw a balloon rally and said, maybe we should do that here in Wyoming. And look at what it's evolved into. It's fantastic. So
yeah, most of the flyers that I speak to, they come from all over the place, but Casper has put theirs on the same weekend as Riverton in years past, and most of the flyers say that they prefer to fly in Riverton over Casper, and I think the big thing is the wind issue.
It is, and again, that's one of the things that always irritates me in Wyoming is we don't cooperate a little better. I mean, why would they put theirs on the same weekend? That doesn't make any sense. I had not heard that. I didn't know that was going on. But,
yeah, I don't know if it's this year, but last year I believe it was the same weekend, and our balloon guy had to decide which one he was going to. And it's hard though, Bill. Speaking of tourism and visitors and events that we have in the summer, things are adding up to the list. Like every single weekend, there seems to be something new or something that's happened for a long time. And so I think it's hard to find a weekend that's open anymore.
Well, that is the thought. Yeah, but again, you would think you wouldn't have 2 competing events that are identical on the same weekend. But again, again, in defense of maybe you're dealing with the national schedule of balloonists that they're going to be in the area, so they might as well be here. But I don't know. I'm a big believer in local events. Lander is having their pig roast this Saturday. Is it this Saturday?
Yep. Yeah.
Tomorrow. That's right. And of course, that was founded by Monty Richardson, our mayor, and then he died unfortunately earlier this year, and while having surgery over in Douglas. And he's a young guy compared to me, and I think he was 69 or something like that. But Monty was just had a heart as big as all outdoors, and just loved Wyoming, loved Lander. So I assume and I hope that they will do something
Me too,
in recognition of him at that event. But it's and let me tell you that pork is really good. It is unbelievably tasty, and they have all kinds of other events around it. So again, if you're in central Wyoming and you've got you're tired of the balloon festival or the rendezvous, just head over for lunch. We'll feed you.
Something's always going on this weekend. We talked about Gold Rush Days. Now, is that this weekend as well in South Pass?
No, that was last weekend.
Okay.
And that was they had they have old time baseball. These guys dress up in old time uniforms and they play with a big old soft ball. That's very, very realistic. And there's 6 or 8 teams from all over the state, and they come up there and it's so much fun. But to me, the highlight is they blow an anvil up. They put dynamite in a hole, put this unbelievably heavy anvil, which is this huge steel thing that blacksmiths use, and then they yell fire in the hole, essentially light it, and then it blows up and goes up in the air for 150 feet or so. And what that's mimicking is old time entertainment. They didn't have fireworks way back in the day. So that was their entertainment, was that let's see if we can kill somebody blowing this anvil up and having it come down on somebody.
Yeah,
I'm kidding there. It scared the heck out of me. That thing, it would literally kill somebody.
Yeah.
But the thing that I always have to laugh when I'm enduring that, or not enduring it, but you're up there visiting, and if you're not paying attention, then that dynamite goes off, or gunpowder, whatever it is,
right.
it scares the heck out of you. And you're all these horses all around, giving horseback rides and wagon rides, and the horses don't even blink. I'm thinking, man, are these well-trained horses?
Yeah. The old Miners Saloon over there. The old Miners Saloon. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in South Pass City. Do you know John Myzinski?
I do.
Yes.
John's an old friend.
Yeah.
Have you had him on the radio?
I have had him on a podcast with the Wind River Visitors Council, and then had multiple chats with him at the Wyoming Outdoor Weekend. We recently just talked about Sasquatch and all of his endeavors there, but he's really has an extremely soft spot for South Pass and Atlantic City, and just encouraging folks who are listening, like Bill mentioned earlier, whether you're out of the state looking for just a wonderful trip to Wyoming on your way to Yellowstone or the Grand Teton National Park, South Pass City, Atlantic City is a wonderful stop. And for our local Wyomingites, encouraging you to take your trips this summer to Wyoming places. South Pass City, for us Fremont County folks, is right here, easy to access. Go by the Rock Shop Inn. Shout out to my friend Anthony, and have yourself a beverage.
Well, my column last week was about the Red Desert, and I love the Red Desert, and it's 5.5 million acres. Now try to put that into perspective, and it's the largest unfenced area in the lower 48. And it's got a divide there where the continental divide splits, and water that goes into the central doesn't come out. It's a true desert, and but indigenous peoples have lived in that area for 10, 11, 12,000 years. And so it's, to me, when my wife and I go out there, it's just like in fact, in my headline was, it's like a vast ocean and it will swallow you up. Because if you spend any time in the Red Desert, you will learn to love it. It's just, it is, like I say, Yellowstone is my favorite place, but the place I go to more often is the Red Desert. And of course, proximity is important because we live right next to it. But
right,
it is an unbelievable place with the Boar's Tusk and Steamboat Mountain and Kilpecker sand dunes and White Mountain petroglyphs, and that's just the beginning. Wild horses and Oregon Buttes, and there's a beautiful set of buttes up on South Pass called the Oregon Buttes. And people always say, why in the heck are they called the Oregon Buttes? And the early travelers on the Oregon Trail, that was considered the halfway point, and it was a sort of, you were over South Pass, and now you were sort of going down to Oregon. Well, you're really not going to go down. You're going to do a lot of high altitude trekking ahead. But the reason they're called the Oregon Buttes is that was actually in the state or the territory of Oregon at that time. You actually were in Oregon, which I thought was, I always am fascinated by that kind of geographical factoid. So you were in Wyoming when you hit the Oregon Buttes.
I love it. Well, Bill, you are just a plethora of knowledge. I appreciate you joining the show, filling in for Jake. It's always a pleasure. Jake does such a phenomenal job, big shoes to fill, but having folks like yourself, Bill, really help out. Like I said, just a plethora of knowledge, and it was just good to chat with you, and I hope to chat with you again soon.
Yeah, let's try to have coffee or something sometime. I'd love to meet you in person. Okay.
I'd like that. All right. Bill, we'll chat soon. Thank you so much to Bill Sniffen joining the Cowboy State Daily Morning Show. I'm Shireen filling in for Jake. Thank you for being here, Cowboy State Daily Morning Show.
Want to stay in touch with what's happening around Wyoming? I'm Wendy Corr, host of the Cowboy State Daily video newscast. From Mountain View to Upton, from Jackson to Cheyenne, our reporters are out there finding and telling the stories that matter. Every day, I talk to the talented journalists who are covering the topics, issues, and people that are important to Wyomingites. And in our daily newscast, I bring you their stories. Tune in to Cowboy State Daily video news every morning, only on cowboystatedaily.com.
Wyoming is a big state. There are so many stories to tell, and here at Cowboy State Daily, we pride ourselves in bringing those stories to you every day. I'm Riley Strand, videographer and production assistant for Cowboy State Daily Video News. Every day, host Wendy Corr and I talk to the experienced journalists who are covering the topics, issues, and people that are important to Wyomingites. And in our daily newscast, we bring you their stories. Tune in to Cowboy State Daily Video News every morning, only on cowboystatedaily.com.
This is the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun.
Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just...
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
In 2023, arm pump was holding me back. After a successful treatment at the McGinley Clinic in Wyoming, I can now focus on track instead of pain. The McGinley Clinic offers innovative, minimally invasive treatments for most sports injuries, including arm pump. They got me back to peak performance and back on the podium. Go check out McGinley Clinic today.
Welcome back, folks. Shireen, the Adventure Queen, filling in for Jake, Cowboy State Daily Morning Show. Glad to be here Friday. It's beautiful here in central Wyoming. Another great day. Glad to be joined by Cowboy Kevin. Kevin, how are you?
I'm really good. How have you been, Shireen?
Oh, great. I'm so glad to chat with you. You were one person I wanted to talk to when I filled in for Jake, and I'll tell you why here momentarily. But how have you been?
Been really good. Been busy. It's been a nice summer. Haven't been too hot, and we've gotten just the right amount of rain when we really needed it.
Well, tell the folks real quick, Kevin, kind of what you do for your world or your life. What's your life all about?
My life is all about training horses and everything that comes with it. Everything from starting colts to showing horses to shoeing horses. That's been my life for a long, long time.
Well, this is perfect, and that's why I wanted to chat with you. It's not necessarily to do with horses, Kevin, but I wanted to talk to you about a really important topic that I find that I think needs more awareness. To tell you a little bit of a backstory, Kevin and folks, is have one of our family friends. They have a bunch of cattle, and they range the cattle up at the base of the Wind River Mountains, and in an area there, that's where their rangeland is. And it's also the home of an extremely popular public trail system. And so when you're navigating running cattle on horseback with public folks using these public trails, what ended up happening was they were up there checking on their cattle, running some cattle, doing the work that normal cattle ranchers do out on the range, when this German Shepherd came running full bore trying to attack one of the cows. Now, of course, the person who owns the cattle is there. That's their livelihood, are these cows. That's generationally what they've done. These cows have been passed down. I mean, the bulls and the lines and all of this is just their livelihood. And so this lady had a German Shepherd on the trail. The lady ends up calling the police because the person who owned the cattle said, if your dog touches my cows again or tries to hurt them, your dog's not going to be around anymore. This is my range area. This is where we range our cattle, and your dog is trying to hurt and kill the cows or the horses. I mean, if a dog is going to attack a cow, it might attack a horse as well. I'm not sure. She therefore calls the police. The police come, and she ends up getting her butt chewed because she didn't have her dog on a leash, and she allowed her dog to sit there and try to attack somebody's livelihood. Now, am I completely off kilter here thinking that this needs more awareness for folks that are utilizing Wyoming trails? I have a lot of friends that trap animals in that exact area. If you're not, watching your dog, something bad could happen.
Yes, absolutely. And something that people need to understand in Wyoming, even on the highway, livestock has the right of way. And we're all familiar with Wyoming traffic jam where somebody is driving their cows down the highway, and there's always conflicts every year, excuse me, with someone who just doesn't know, just trying to, push their way through the cattle. And it's the same on the trail systems. Whether it is a trail ride horseback in one of the national parks, or if it is just out on national forest, livestock have the right of way. Anyone who is hiking down the trail is supposed to get out of the way. And I don't think perhaps that is widely known. And maybe it does need to be advertised a little bit better when people come to visit. And to your point about the trapping, if someone is going to go out and enjoy the great outdoors, which we all want them to do, there are appropriate spots and places to let your dog off a leash when you're in somewhat of a controlled area. You're on the side of the creek bed, you can turn them loose and play fetch with them and do all that stuff. But when you are traversing, especially when you hear cattle coming, you need to get that dog on a leash, and it's not just for the safety of the cattle. I've seen some dogs get pretty messed up from a cow.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be out of the rancher's hands on what happens to that dog.
Yep.
But yep, that is the way of Wyoming.
That is the way of Wyoming from Cowboy Kevin. I knew you would agree with me. I thought it needed some more awareness. I've tried to do that on my radio show just a little bit, but we get a lot of visitors, a lot of folks that aren't from this area, and I just want to make sure that their animals, one, are safe, but also protecting the livelihood of many of our friends and neighbors here in Wyoming and Fremont County is that's extremely important to them, these animals. These animals are treated very well. Again, this is their livelihood. So for folks out there, like Kevin said, if you are on a trail system and you even think you have a great dog, sometimes even the best of dogs end up chasing cows or get spooked by horses. You just never know. So, yeah, I appreciate that chat, Kevin. I just think it's just so important. We live in such a great state, and I really want to make sure folks embrace our agriculture lifestyle and, horses, cattle. I have pigs and turkeys. Even if they're not involved and that's not their life, I'm hoping that this reaches a few people.
Yeah, and I can tell you from my own personal experience that it's always interesting to see the reaction that you get. I was working a cow camp up on the Bighorns, on Crazy Woman Creek, and there was a campground there. And a lot of people may not understand that these Western cattle, they're not milk cows. A fence really doesn't mean that much to them. Most fences, they're just kind of a rough guideline of where you're supposed to go. And I had about 30 head of cows jump into the campground. And it was, about this time of year, so it was plumb packed full of campers and tents and barbecues and little yapping dogs. And I got out there real early and just happened to be riding by there when I saw they were in there. And half of the tourists come out and took pictures of the cowboy getting the cows out, and the other half came out and started screaming at me because they tipped over their barbecue. Well, I'm doing the best I can to rectify this situation, lady. I'm sorry that it ruined your vacation. It's not like I planned it this way, but if you keep screaming at me, I might plan it for tomorrow.
Yes, and that's exactly how it works out there. Like with this woman, when the guy threatened to, hey, if your dog does something to my cattle, I'm going to have to do something back. When you get to those kinds of situations, you don't want to escalate things, but you can eliminate that by A, being respectful, B, being reminded of the way of life in Wyoming and other neighboring states that you might visit or you might go to. And like you mentioned, it might have interrupted the vacation just a little bit, but I bet you it was a good reminder too to those folks. And I bet you it was kind of cool, Kevin, because many of them may not see cows or cattle.
Yeah, yeah. And, they came out for a Western experience. By golly, you just got a bonus for free.
Yeehaw! Speaking of being Western, I went up on a trail ride with a company called Wind River Services, WYND, out of Crooked Creek Guest Ranch. And it's been a while since I've been on a horse, Kevin. And I forgot how therapeutic it is, how good it feels. It's weird. And I know a lot of folks don't even like horses and don't get on them, but I encourage you to do that trail ride or do a trail ride because I just forgot how awesome it felt to be on a horse.
Well, there's an old saying, and I believe it was Winston Churchill who said, the outside of a horse is good for the inside of a man. And I believe that to be true, even on days where I'm having bad days where, as a professional horse trainer, there are days where I just hate horses. I just hate them with everything in me. But in the end, in the morning, I just can't wait to get on a horse again. And at night, I go to bed dreaming about riding on in the morning and dreaming about the ones that I rode that day. So, yeah, anytime a person gets to go enjoy nature and enjoy that partnership that you have with animal, even if it's just a trail horse, you're still going to get to feel that emotion.
Yeah, this one he was a little spunky, but he was perfect and he had some emotion to him. So I really did enjoy that. And again, even if folks aren't familiar with horses or haven't been on them their whole lives, getting on a horse for a trail ride in particular, Kevin, as you know, is pretty easy and simple. These horses kind of know where they're going. They're not going to be crazy. So it's kind of a great way to test the waters.
Yeah, yeah, they know their job. They know the trail. They know that they're heading home from the time that they leave, so they don't get in a big hurry usually.
There's a lady here in Fremont County who's actually using horses as therapy for pregnant women or women in general or women or people who may have had abandonment issues. And there's this huge study on how horses are used in this therapy. And it's one of the top ways that it's actually working. It's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, I've actually been involved with Colorado State University and their therapeutic riding center, and they're doing a lot of research, not just on how it helps the people. They use it a lot with physical rehabilitation. They also use it a lot with autistic individuals.
Hmm.
There seems to be a connection, but they're also researching, what makes the right horse for it and how can you keep that horse fresh because the horse will take on a lot of emotion from the rider as well. So they have to figure out ways to freshen those horses up and give them a vacation, so to speak, from doing the therapy sessions. But the interesting thing about just the way a horse moves is they'll put people that are paralyzed or have nerve damage, and they'll put them on these horses to ride. And just the way a horse moves, it moves so many more muscles than a typical therapy, like in a pool or something.
Wow. And a pool is known as like having intense therapy and muscle improvement. So
Yeah.
that's incredible. I didn't even think about that, Kevin, but that makes complete sense. So they're able to work these muscles a little extra and get the therapy from riding a horse. That really seems like a win-win situation.
Yeah, well, just think about how you walked from the horse back to your car after your trail ride and all the muscles that you didn't realize you had that suddenly you were well aware of.
Yeah, you're reminding me. My buttocks hurt. I walked a little like
Well,
bow-legged afterwards.
well, now you know why cowboys walk the way we do.
Yeehaw! Oh, I should get. Hold on one second, Kevin. I have to get something to show you. 1 second.
Okay. This is riveting radio, folks. But if you're just listening on the radio, you didn't see that she just turned around and brought a gift.
I have so much sun in here. Okay. This is the boot saver, Kevin.
Uh-huh.
So this is what the old cowboys, they'd walk with it. And then when they needed to go to the restroom, my uncle invented this. And when they needed to go to the restroom, they'd push it out like that. And it was the boot saver. So
Oh, I tell you what, that is an ingenious invention.
I feel weird that I had to demonstrate that, but I wanted to show you because it reminded me my uncle passed away, but he made this in the
That is a great invention. I hope you have the patent on that.
Yeah, I just have the one he made, but I got it passed down to me when he passed away, and he had told me this story, and I just loved it so much that when he passed away, his wife gave it to me. But yeah, the old boot saver. So as you see, Kevin, it's getting really sunny here in the studio. I broadcast in a sunroom, so you can barely see me now, but if I block it, you can. So yeah, it's getting sunny. It's nice. Is it nice in your neck of the woods?
You know, it's a little overcast today, which is all right. It's been pretty blazing hot, but we had a nice rain the other day. I didn't look at the forecast to see what we're supposed to. I think we're probably supposed to be in the 80s, but next week we're supposed to really be scalding. And I was listening to Don Day on your show this morning, and he didn't really give me any hope for a change on that. He kind of has been nailing those forecasts pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you just enjoy the weekend. I don't know if you're working or if you've got something you get to enjoy doing, but whatever it is, I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, well, we're going to work a little bit, but it's our county fair here in Converse County, and so I'll probably go down Saturday night and enjoy the ranch rodeo.
And you're in Douglas, right?
Yep.
So the state fair will be there in August as well.
Yep, just a few weeks.
That's always a fun time. All right,
Yeah, absolutely.
Cowboy Kevin, thanks for joining the show. Appreciate you chatting about those important topics. And yeah, you're just a breath of fresh air per usual.
Well, good to talk to you again. Take care.
Thank you, Kevin. See ya.
Julie was always.
Wyoming is the cowboy state. From corner to corner, there are so many stories to be told, and more cowboys and cowgirls are turning to the Cowboy State Daily News team to keep them in touch with what's happening both locally and in other parts of Wyoming. I'm Riley Strand, videographer and production assistant for Cowboy State Daily Video News. We're proud to bring the most important stories to our viewers every day. The stories that start conversations, the stories that make us laugh, the stories that make us think. Our experienced journalists at Cowboy State Daily are crisscrossing the state every day, talking to those who know the news best. Every day, host Wendy, Corr, and I talk to the reporters who are covering the topics, issues, and people that are important to Wyomingites. And in our daily newscast, we bring you those stories. Tune into the Cowboy State Daily video newscast every morning, only on cowboystatedaily.com.
You're listening to the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Logan Wilson here at the M Building in Casper, Wyoming. They do more than just support businesses and private events. They support nonprofits by offering reduced rates to help the community thrive. The staff here at the M Building have been incredible in helping me organize a fantastic event. They are great partners for those who want to make a positive impact on the community. Come check out the M for your next event.
You talk to. In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. I grew up on tour with my parents. Kind of different, but we bonded over music just like other families do over sports, camping, or other interests. And we talked. Little everyday conversations from silly to serious that built a foundation over time. Honest conversations, like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic.
Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life. And I was so grateful that you and Mom had become these sober, stable people who were always there for me.
I wanted you to know from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs, whether it's music or anything else. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Life jacket use by Wyoming boaters this summer seems to be slipping a bit. Some reminders next on the Wyoming Outdoorsman. I'm Ray Hageman. Boating season is already into July, and the Wyoming Game and Fish Department and Wyoming State Parks reminds all boaters, from motorized to paddlers, to be prepared and be sure watercraft are outfitted with the required safety equipment. Aaron Corr, Game and Fish Law Enforcement Supervisor, says, "We can't emphasize enough how important it is to have a life jacket for all of the passengers on your watercraft. It's the law, and life jackets are proven to save lives." Corr says that means you need a life jacket aboard all watercraft, including kayaks, canoes, even stand-up paddle boards. Boaters are required to have a life jacket available for each individual on board. Life jackets must be properly sized, U.S. Coast Guard approved, and in good condition. They cannot be waterlogged, torn, or have straps broken or missing. Life jackets also need to be readily accessible to the passengers on board. Children 12 years old and under are required to wear a life jacket while the boat is underway unless they're inside an enclosed cabin. Anyone being towed by a boat, wake surfing, or riding on a personal watercraft such as a jet ski is required to wear a life jacket as well. U.S. Coast Guard statistics show drowning was the reported cause of death in 75% of boating fatalities in 2023. 87% of those who drowned were not wearing life jackets. Other requirements: a minimum of one U.S. Coast Guard throwable flotation device, which includes ring buoys and float cushions, aboard boats 16 feet and longer that are motorized. A proper fire extinguisher on any boat that has an inboard engine, permanently installed fuel tank, closed living space, double bottoms not sealed to the hull, or compartments that store fuel tanks or other combustible materials. Multiple extinguishers may be needed depending on the size of the boat. All operators must be at least 16 years old, obey any buoys or markers in the water, and avoid reckless or careless operation. Additionally, boating under the influence of alcohol and or drugs is illegal. Alcohol use is the leading known contributing factor in fatal boating accidents. That's according to the U.S. Coast Guard. This has been the Wyoming Outdoorsman, a program by the Wyoming Game and Fish Department. Thanks for listening. I'm Ray Hageman.
And good morning. Thanks for being here. Cowboy State Daily Morning Show. I'm Shireen, filling in for Jake. Yes, glad to be here. It's beautiful where I'm at. I hope it's beautiful in your neck of the woods. I have a little bit of, try to move that. I had to put up a sunblock. There's so much sun in here. Good morning. It's a beautiful day. I will not complain about the sun, but if I move this little piece of soundboard from there, I can't even barely see, and you can't see me, but that's how it gets in here. I have no air conditioning in the sunroom. I don't know why I don't. And I've mentioned before, we're saving for a wedding. So I thought I would cut some of the electricity bill by not putting the AC in the sunroom. And now I'm regretting it because every single morning I'm either up at 4 a.m. to do work until 9 o'clock when my regular morning radio show ends, and then taking a break and working inside, and then coming back out at night from like 8 until 10 or so when it's cooled down a little bit in the sunroom. So it definitely gets hot and sunny. It's a perfect place for plants. I somehow kill plants no matter what, but this is one of those areas. It gets hot in here. It can get humid as well, depending, and it just gets really sunny and really hot. I was trying to check what the temp is right now here in the studio. 70 degrees right now. So it's a warm one. And today, warm temps across the state. Everybody will be dealing with some warm weather and a warm weekend ahead. So glad to be here. We've talked about what's happening in my neck of the woods. There's a lot of stuff happening across Wyoming, a lot of stuff in Jackson, Yellowstone with all the tourists. Did you see that story about the man drinking the thermal water from Yellowstone National Park, one of the thermal hot springs? A man was cupping the water and drinking it. Of course, he was captured on video, which, by the way, we have some wonderful people that travel around and are hanging out, and the park employees that capture these folks on video. Also more easily able to give them tickets or warnings in that case as well. But somebody videoed this guy scooping water out of the thermal pool in Yellowstone and drinking it. And all I thought to myself was, that is something my fiance would do. That's something Chad would do, because he thinks that if anything is boiling hot, it's killed all the germs. But that's not true. And as a matter of fact, I think in the thermal pools in Yellowstone, they've had lots of weird bacteria in them. I don't know if Giardia is in there, but lots of very weird bacteria. So my PSA here is for all the guys out there, because I feel like this is more of a guy thing. Just because something is scalding hot or hot water does not mean that it's clean or disinfected. And as a matter of fact, for the thermal pools in Yellowstone, that's quite opposite. But of course, our friends at Cowboy State Daily, all the great reporters are keeping us in the know on all those funny stories. I love that. Also, the story about the tram, Jackson Hole Mountain Resort, and somebody having that bear spray that was that went off just a little bit too. But it's amazing. You know the saying, a little bit goes a long way. That is so true with bear spray or any kind of aerosol. And if it's in a confined space, the way it spreads. And so you had a whole tram full of people that were heading up the mountain. Somebody's bear spray broke open. And I don't think the windows open on those trams, but they got the folks back down to the start pretty quickly, it sounds like. And I'm not sure if they gave them water to wash their eyes out with or what the deal was there. But bear spray stories, if you have one, comment on the video here or send it to Cowboy State Daily, because I feel like a lot of folks do have bear spray stories. A lot of folks leave bear spray in your car. Talking about 100-degree temps, that is not a good idea. As a matter of fact, somebody that I knew someone that had a can of bear spray that went off in their car. They never got that smell out, and they ended up selling it, and they ended up having to sell it for a lot less than what they would have or wanted to, because that bear spray smell was in there, and somebody has to live with that. So it's extremely difficult to get out of what I assume was cloth seats, which aerosol is always tough on stuff like that. But yeah, just imagining being on vacation, Jackson Hole, maybe your first time there, maybe you have your kids heading up the tram, getting ready to get those beautiful epic photos up there, spend some time up at the top, and hear somebody's bear spray goes off, and you're stuck and you're going back down and you're not going back up. And that's kind of how that went. Cowboy State Daily covered that story. I love stuff like that where we get a little bit of a chuckle. Glad everybody was okay. But again, a little can go a long way, and it does when it comes to bear spray. I'm Shireen, the Adventure Queen, filling in for Jake, Cowboy State Daily Morning Show.
It's the Rodeo Roadshow on the Western Ag Network. Hi, everybody. I'm Will Rasmussen. Today, my great friend and colleague, rodeo announcer Wayne Brooks, 5-time announcer of the year. He's announced the National Finals Rodeo a dozen times, and I'm lucky enough to announce the California Rodeo Salinas in California, where we are right now. Some stuff, good stuff, from my great friend Wayne Brooks on the Roadshow next.
Hi, I'm Lander Nicodemus with Torrington Livestock Markets. As a livestock market owner and a member of the LMA, I believe it is time for our industry to align and drive meaningful changes that will safeguard a future for ranchers. I'm asking all who are hearing this to sign on to this effort as we work to achieve and maintain ag-friendly tax policy, improve risk management tools, access to labor, flexibility for livestock haulers, and create support for young and emerging livestock producers. Now is the time. Learn more and sign on at commongroundsummit.net.
The American Lamb Summit is headed to Moscow, Idaho, July 23rd to the 25th. This premier event is your opportunity to engage with all segments of the sheep industry as we explore the newest trends and opportunities to boost the competitiveness of the U.S. sheep market. And the Western Ag Network's coverage is sponsored by the American Sheep Industry Association. Since 1865, ASI has been representing the interests of U.S. sheep producers. For more information about the American Lamb Summit, visit lambboard.com.
Rodeo Roadshow this week, the great Wayne Brooks. We are on Highway 101 in California, somewhere between San Jose and Salinas, and we've both stayed in hotels for the last month and a half, and I was just thinking, Wayne, it's all glitz and glimmer, isn't it, this announces?
Neons and nylons, yeah. Yeah, big thick steaks and expensive wine. Yeah, I leave 1st of June, get a week off in August, and then don't get home again until 1st of October. So it's the old, you got to make hay while the sun shines, and you're the same way. I know. Yeah. I know. Summertime's covered up, and we are two of the most blessed guys in the world.
That's what I was, yeah.
I think work.
Yeah, that's good. And we're headed, you just got done with the greatest show on dirt, I think they call it, up in Calgary Stampede. Talk about that.
Oh, gosh. You know, it's a high-quality event because it's an invitational only. So they've got 3 groups of 30 contestants. Well, let me try that again here. 3 groups of 10 contestants in each event. So your grand total contestants is 210. So your quality control is over the top.
I'm Will Rasmussen on the Western Ag Network.
Shireen, the Adventure Queen, filling in for Jake, Cowboy State Daily Morning Show on a beautiful Friday across Wyoming. Thanks for being here, whether you're listening on the radio, tuning in on YouTube, or Cowboy State Daily on socials or cowboystatedaily.com. Appreciate you being here. A busy weekend, like I mentioned, where I'm at. A busy weekend in general, as most of us in this area, Northwest Rocky region, the Rockies region, always want to capitalize on every single weekend we have or the chance to enjoy the great outdoors. It's been a little warm in our neck of the woods this summer already, so I feel like I haven't spent as much time outdoors, but I have animals. I have pigs. I have 4 of them. One of them's not mine per se, but 4 of them here at the house. 3 turkeys that are awesome that I need to go let out here ASAP because they're used to being out earlier in the morning. And then we have sheep that are at the house that is Chad's uncle's sheep, and they're awesome. And every time I go to feed the pigs, they start eyeballing me for the corn. And a few of the times they want to come try to mow me down to get the corn. And then we have a lot of barn and feral kittens. If you ever need a barn cat or a home cat, I play with all the feral kittens, but we have a bad feral barn cat problem out here, and we're trying to rectify that and hopefully getting all of the females fixed here soon. That has been such a nightmare for us and for me. If I never see a kitten again, I will be happy. I have homed so many kittens, and usually what folks do out here is they just let them go. I mean, it's not their cats, they're whatever. And then you get 20 or 30 cats running around. They all get sick. They all look weird. And I don't want our domestic cats to get sick. So we just kept one of the feral cats, but I don't know. It's acting like it does not want to be inside, but we'll see. So we kept one of the feral cats this time, one of the barn kittens. I lost one of my cats. He took off, never came home. I don't know what happened to him. Hopefully he's inside somebody else's house. That's the best ending I can hope for with him. Charles, he was my favorite cat. And I got a foster dog from the shelter to help him out. And he must have not liked the foster dog. It did try to nip him once. And so he took off. And so I no longer have Charles on the funny farm. And so we put that kitten in Charles' place, Selena, which is the little kitten. So a lot of animals here at the funny farm and a lot of stuff to deal with on a daily basis. So that's how I get outdoors. Whether it's rain, shine, or whatever, I have to go out and feed the animals. So I do get my time outdoors and then taking care of the lawn and the garden, which had so many weeds. Does your garden have a ton of weeds? Seems like a really weedy year this year, maybe a little bit with the moisture on the west side for us. And then a lot of sunshine too. But some of the weeds were as tall as I am. So I'm 5'5.5", and they were right there at me. So I had to pull them. Then I hurt my back. One of those things where you go to pull something, you're like, uh-oh, what was that? And at first it didn't hurt. So I thought, oh, okay, I got off okay. And now it hurts really bad. I'm able to stand up and stuff, though. Last night I couldn't barely move. I was a little worried. I was like, I'm going to be just sitting in the same place for the show tomorrow for Cowboy State Daily. But no, it actually turned out to be okay. So I feel like I'm doing better, but pulling weeds, I feel like for a lot of us, injuries can happen from pulling weeds. And I'm not really sure how to pull a weed properly, but I must have been pulling with my back instead of my legs or arms. I'm not sure, but it gave me a pretty good back injury. And it just reminds me of getting older. My birthday is next week, and here I am thinking, oh man, I'm just getting old. I'm getting older and older and older, and we're all getting older and older. That's inevitable. But with the injury to my back, I'm sitting here thinking about my birthday next week, and I'm just like, wow, is this how I get to start my birthday next week, is with a back injury? So I'm hoping this weekend it heals up completely. But pulling weeds is actually really pulling weeds and shoveling snow. Every single time I hurt myself every year with those. Shoveling snow in particular, I seem to get really bad back injuries from. So needless to say, I need to exercise more. I think that's the case here. But like I said, I have my birthday around the corner. So I'm sitting here. Everything's kind of going in my mind. Be healthier, be better, be less injury prone. But I'm kind of a klutz too. So I'm injury prone no matter what, really. So if you have any advice, any tips, I know everybody's like, there's a lot of PT stuff that they can do and things like that. I would love to hear them. I'm not sure if I ever actually accomplish anything that people give me good advice for, if I ever actually follow through, because that's part of it, especially with PT. If you're going to do PT or any kind of improvement in that area, you've got to stick with the things they want you to do at home. And that for me is kind of impossible. So now you know I procrastinate and I don't do those things that I need to. And that's probably why I have back injuries and I'm not as healthy as I should be. Just from pulling some weeds. I'm not even 40 yet. And I'm injured every time I shovel snow. And this time pulling some weeds. Now, last year I didn't really have a full garden, so I didn't have weed pulling. The year before I didn't really have that many weeds and I had like a little hoe. Well, now I can't find the little hoe. And so I have to hand pull them. And yes, that's how I got injured with the weed pulling. It's that time of season, though. And I know I'm not the only one that's dealing with just a ton of weeds out in the garden. So a little update from the funny farm here. I need to go let the turkeys out. So let's get to some news. Cowboy State Daily Morning Show. I'm Shireen. Glad to be here filling in for Jake.
It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming. From the Cowboy State Daily Newsroom, I'm Wendy Corr. Wyoming leaders on Thursday announced they're challenging the order by which a judge has blocked the state's school choice program. Laramie County District Court Judge Peter Froelicher on Tuesday issued a preliminary injunction blocking the Steamboat Legacy Scholarship Program, while public school advocacy group Wyoming Education Association and a handful of parents challenge it in court. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that the state's appeal to the Wyoming Supreme Court was announced by Superintendent of Public Instruction Megan Degenfelder, who is a proponent of school choice.
It takes a few days or weeks, but yeah, in the coming weeks, they'll argue against the reasoning that Froelicher deployed. And before that, they'll ask the High Court to stay his decision, basically undo his decision while they evaluate the reasoning that led him to it.
Had it been allowed to go into effect, the program would have allocated a per-family maximum of $7,000 towards state contractor-held accounts for approved families to put toward private school tuition or homeschooling. A 49-year-old woman who acted as a mule to traffic meth, fentanyl, and cocaine to Wyoming from Colorado will spend up to 8 years in prison. Heather Marie Russell pleaded guilty Thursday to 10 drug-related charges. As part of the plea deal, Cowboy State Daily's Dale Killingbeck reports that Russell is agreeing to testify honestly against known and unknown co-conspirators in the enterprise that brought drugs from Colorado to Natrona County, then sold them to local buyers.
She apologized to the court and to the community for her actions. She said that she was thankful to be sober and that she wanted the judge to just go ahead and sentence her today. She didn't want a pre-sentence investigation or anything. So the judge sentenced her to concurrent sentences that will mean she'll serve up to 8 years in prison.
DCI's investigation of Russell tracked her traveling between Natrona County and Colorado to buy drugs. Agents did controlled buys from Russell starting in February 2024, and informants and co-conspirators pointed to Russell as a source for fentanyl. U.S. House Judiciary Committee member Harriet Hageman of Wyoming is investigating the prosecution of an Idaho ultra runner for going off a trail in Grand Teton National Park. 33-year-old Michelino Sinceri has never denied cutting the switchback during a run in the national park on September 2, 2024. It was his disclosure of the switchback cut on social media that caught the National Park Service's attention and resulted in a misdemeanor charge. Cowboy State Daily's Sean Berry reports that Hageman feels Sinceri's case is an example of overzealous prosecution.
It appears that even after the National Park Service sort of stepped away from this, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Wyoming has been plowing straight ahead with this prosecution. One plea offer reportedly would have been 1,000 hours of community service and a 5-year prohibition from setting foot in the park. Harriet Hageman thinks it's an example of overcriminalization, where people who did things that they did not really know what the rules were, they thought were minor, are now being hit with some very serious penalties.
Hageman said the cut-through that Sinceri took was actually an alternate path, and she's questioning his prosecution altogether. I'll be back with more news right after this.
Find expert vascular care right here in Wyoming. Wyoming Interventional and Vascular Associates, or WIVA, is a division of Casper Medical Imaging and is home to experienced subspecialized physicians and physician assistants who provide comprehensive services to treat vascular disease. From PAD and AAA to venous disease, WIVA offers tailored solutions to get you back to enjoying the things you love. Schedule a consultation with WIVA today at caspermedicalimaging.net/WIVA or by calling 307-577-1003.
Nearly half the inmates in the Laramie County Detention Center have mental health conditions, and about 11% are considered extremely mentally ill. That's why, after 2 years and $700,000, the jail is opening the first special management unit in Wyoming. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland explains that this jail pod is for inmates whose acute mental health issues require tight monitoring and extra care, but which is designed with good behavior incentives.
What was interesting to me is the way the architecture, its intent is bound up in its design. The officials at the jail were telling me, yeah, you can see sunlight. They're tempted by this sunlight, and some of them can even see a series of progressing, improving recreation areas culminating in the outdoor sunlight basked patio that makes them want to improve. It's good behavior that gets them out into each rec area.
Jail staffers have already identified whom to transition into it in the coming days, with the planned opening set for Friday. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by clicking on the daily newsletter button at cowboystatedaily.com. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.
Christopher Holton. I'm very active. It was a Saturday morning. Normally I go for my normal walk.
With no warning, Chris suffered a near-fatal heart attack. But thankfully, Brian Buckley, a bystander, saw him collapse and rushed to help.
He did this big gasp for air and then just stopped. It's like I went into autopilot. It's like all that training I did back in the day around CPR just just magically came out of nowhere.
Because of the CPR training that Brian received, Chris did make it and didn't die on the trail that day. CPR training provided by the American Heart Association.
Looking at your hands, these two hands could save a life.
Being a father, you want to be around. You want to be around for your kids.
Heart disease is America's #1 killer. To learn more about how the American Heart Association helps save lives, go to helpheart.org.
All right, heading to the Zoom room with the beautiful Wendy Corr. Wendy, how are you?
Back at you, beautiful Shireen. It's a beautiful day, isn't it?
Yes, I love it. I love it. Thank you for taking some time. I know you're on the road this morning, and thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so glad that we're in good cell service. That's always the trick. When you're traveling across Wyoming, you're in the Bighorn Basin, you could drop out at any time. So I'm glad we got good service today.
Yeah, well,
So,
Wendy, I was going to tell you something I'm dealing with right now. I don't know what to do, and it kind of just happened. While you were on the news, I ran outside to let the turkeys out, and when I went outside, my trap had a big raccoon in it. What do I do? What do I do? I want to let it go. I want to let it go, but I'm supposed
you
to
need
not.
I know this is the dilemma of I think almost any woman in Wyoming. A guy is going to say, get out there and shoot it. Heck, my mother would say, get out there and shoot it. I can't get out there and shoot the raccoon. I would take it someplace else. They are intelligent creatures.
They
They're
are.
such intelligent creatures. You want to take them someplace where they're going to not get in trouble, but they're just too smart.
Yeah.
And so I would say wait for your honey and say,
Okay.
you take care of this. Yeah, you're the big strong guy. You go do this.
He's so cute, though. He's like a littler one, too. So he's not the big one that I've seen around here. But one of them attacked my turkey and ripped off his drumstick. So, yeah, he's alive and living, and I patched him up and everything. But Chad said,
back up. He ripped off your turkey's leg?
basically, yeah, the whole drumstick portion of it. The raccoon did, and I used something called blue coat, and it healed it up, which a lot of horse people use. But yeah, it was a huge.
That's amazing.
Right out of the drumstick too. He knew right where the drumstick was.
You knew where the good tender meat was. Okay, that's crazy. But this little bitty raccoon did that?
Well, I think it's the bigger one. I don't know. It's not super little bitty, but there's a really large one, and I had a trap set multiple times. And it was triggered, but the raccoon wasn't in there, which means it was probably so big its hind end was out the back end when it triggered. And so it just reverses out. But this one is smaller. It's been trapped, but it's so cute. I ran away from it. I didn't even want to go let the turkeys out because I didn't want them to peck at it. So, yeah, I don't know.
Oh my word. Yeah, I think that's going to be a Chad's. You got to have Chad figure that one out.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Let's pass that one off. But the problems that we have in rural Wyoming, though, seriously,
it's
right?
the truth. Yep.
Oh my gosh, last year, maybe it was 2 years ago, I heard this horrible noise outside, and we were living outside of Cody at the time. And I went outside, and there was a mama raccoon teaching her 5 children how to climb a wall. They were literally climbing our garage wall. And yeah, that look on your face is the look that I had on my face. So again, the things that happen in rural Wyoming.
Yeah, well, Wendy, I will give you an update on what happens with the raccoon, but
Please.
it's so cute. I really just want to
Yeah.
let it go somewhere. So I'm not sure what Chad will say, but we'll see.
Yeah. No, I think that's people keep them as pets, but we can't do that here.
No.
That would be frowned upon.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What else is going on in Wendy Corr's world?
Actually getting away for a couple of days, it's a wonderful thing. So glad to be able to have time and headspace. Everybody needs a weekend. And so that's a wonderful thing. But it's the most exciting time in Cheyenne right now. Frontier Days is happening. So that's keeping everybody busy and
Yep.
focused down there. The news has been so interesting lately.
It has.
I mean, we had a story that we put on the newscast last night about all the stuff that's happening in Washington, and it was all negated.
Yeah.
By the time we woke up this morning, it's like, oh, they voted. Okay. There's never a lack for things happening in the news, and that's great. But Shireen, I have to plug my podcast.
Yes.
Because I want people to watch this podcast tomorrow. It is the coolest. There's a girl out of Cody. I say she's a girl. She's not much younger than you are, and she's a full grown woman. She's out there living her life. She is a public speaker. She is an AI expert. She is a mortgage lending. She's in the mortgage lending industry. She lives out of her van.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. She's living, her and her mini golden doodle are
Aw.
living out of her van anywhere they want. And she is working anywhere she wants, which is amazing. Today she's in Portland, but she is an absolute powerhouse. But she's just, I mean, she graduated Cody High School and was going the traditional route of any, you know, I mean, she was going to go into, you know, maybe pre-med, but into the healthcare. And then she got it. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Found herself in Las Vegas working at conventions and just kind of a, you know, for hire person for booths and things like that. And got hooked up with this mortgage company. They started pulling her on stage to do some public speaking things because she was also a personal trainer. And she found herself this incredible career that, thanks to COVID, she learned how to do remotely and was able to do remotely. And that just fed her, her like, I can do this. I can do this from anywhere. And she's got this great thing. And it literally brought me to tears. I've read it before, but hearing somebody so young and so capable and so out there doing it was just phenomenal. She said, I had to look at my life and my dreams and I say, am I going to die with my dream inside me? Or am I going to get out there and do it? And I'm like, oh my word, yes.
Yes.
Don't die with your dream inside you. Again, this is an old quote. I've heard this before and it's really powerful, but especially to hear that coming from somebody so capable and who's actually out there doing it. I'm just so proud. She's from my town. I'm like, hey,
Woohoo!
I can say I don't know her personally, but now I do.
Now you do. Yeah.
But I highly recommend listening to the Roundup podcast tomorrow. Megan Anderson is her name, and she is inspirational. I absolutely love talking to her. So that's my plug. Tune into the Roundup tomorrow.
And don't forget, you can get that on any podcast platform, any app that you use to listen to podcasts. You can find the Roundup and subscribe as well so that you get a notification when Wendy has another guest. And that was really inspiring, Wendy. I'm going to go and I'm going to be watching that tomorrow, right?
You absolutely have to watch it tomorrow. It'll be uploaded late tonight. So when you get up tomorrow morning, you'll be able to get it. But it is just a fun one. I love the podcast interviews. They are so much fun because you get to know these people. It's like writing a feature story
Mm-hmm.
for Cowboy State Daily. I love writing features because you really get to know these fantastic characters that we have right here in Wyoming. Like you, Shireen. Oh my gosh. We got a chance, folks, we got a chance to just kind of chat. We've been talking for months about, you know, we need to catch coffee or something. Yesterday, we got to have virtual coffee
Mm-hmm.
because we just found out about each other's lives. This Shireen is a fantastic powerhouse of a media superstar. And
Oh, you're
I'm
so
so
sweet.
pleased that we've got you with us here, Shireen. Just even to fill in here, heads up, folks, Shireen's going to be the face of the news for a couple of days
I got things
in a
working
week
too.
or so.
I got it all worked out,
Yeah.
so I'm excited.
Did you
Yes,
really?
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Okay. Yeah.
yes.
So it's just really great to have you with us and to have you kind of in our back pocket. Where do we need a little bit of oomph? We need Shireen, and she's right here.
Hey,
So
that's so well said, but I expect nothing less from you, Wendy, because you're so eloquent. But I really appreciate that, and I love media. I love everything that you are doing, Cowboy State Daily. What I really enjoyed, and I want to just highlight this real quick, is because you have news stories, you have things that are coming out, and you do the newscast, and at one moment it's one way, and a couple hours later it changes to something else. Well, Jimmy was
yeah.
on it, and I got an email in the morning that gave me that breaking news, and it was like, hey, you know, that's the kind of news coverage we need across the state to let folks know about this stuff,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. And that is what is the gift of Cowboy State Daily. And I just cannot say enough about what we have in this organization. We have straight, fair news. We tell you what the news is. We don't tell you how to think about it. You can read the opinions, but those are other people's opinions. We give them the platform because we are the news. This is our job. This is our responsibility. is to provide a platform for people to share ideas and to really inform people. I mean, I just again can't say enough about Cowboy State Daily and what we have here, and it's really an amazing gift to the state.
And you've worked in a number
So,
of different realms in media too,
mhm.
so you have a good you have your pulse on how things are, and so you're a good judge of that.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I worked for KODI Radio, for Bighorn Radio Network. I freelanced for the Cody Enterprise. So I've done print, I've done broadcasting, I've done television. And so to have an organization like Cowboy State Daily, where we've got the video, we've got the funnies.
Yes.
If you get our newsletter, we've got the funnies, you got the Daily Darwin and all these other great things. So we are your true news source for all the things that matter, whether it's features on interesting people, whether it's events that are happening, whether it's Don Day's weather. Cowboy State Daily is where you come to be informed on all of these things, informed, entertained, and the people. That's the other thing. I know I'm rambling, but one of the other things that I just love about us is our reporters.
Yes.
Our reporters are just phenomenal, and I get to talk to every one of them every day and to get their stories and to talk to them about their stories. I feel very plugged in, and I like being able to share that with everybody else.
And I also think too, and folks, if you're not in the media realm or any of that sorts, sometimes you just don't understand the workload and the late hours of some of them. So, for example, last night when the word came out from DC, remember, it's late at night. Somebody had to write that story and get that published, and that's what Cowboy State Daily is doing. Middle of when
Yes.
we're sleeping, they're writing.
Yes. That's because Jimmy's nuts, but he's out there, he wakes up in the middle of the night and he checks news in the middle of the night. Who does this? Our editor does this. Our manager, our boss does this. And so this is again, it takes a special person to be in media and to be in a breaking news situation like this. And we're so blessed to have these dedicated people out there that are willing to say, hey, this is important and people need to know this. And so I'm going to take the time at 1 a.m. and I'm going to write this story so that everybody knows when they get up in the morning what's happening, because it does affect us. This is an important story.
Extremely important. Extremely important. And if you
Yeah.
missed it, NPR, PBS have been defunded, and that's the story on cowboystatedaily.com. You can find it in full. Some great information, some quotes from the folks at PBS too about the future. So if you're curious about any of that, I would head to cowboystatedaily.com and check out that story.
Absolutely. Yep. Again, grateful for the people that stay up late and do those things, and we're grateful for you, Shireen, to be able to be here and give Jake a day off, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, no joke. He's probably working though, DJing something or doing
I'm sure he is.
something
Yeah.
else. All of you are just extremely, well versed and hard workers, and I'm just thankful that I can step in once in a while to give you guys kind of a little bit of a break. But you do such a phenomenal job, Wendy. I hope people subscribe to that podcast episode for tomorrow with Megan. It sounds extremely interesting, so I know I'm going to be watching that. You can watch on YouTube or you can listen on your podcast apps as well. Wendy, we'll let you continue on your road trip. You be safe. Remember, 2 hands on the wheel, 2 eyes on the road.
Hey, I got a driver. I'm
Okay.
impressed.
All right,
I
good.
get to be here, do my thing.
All
All right.
right.
Thanks,
See
Shireen.
ya.
Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Want to stay in touch with what's happening around Wyoming? I'm Wendy Corr, host of the Cowboy State Daily video newscast. From Mountain View to Upton, from Jackson to Cheyenne, our reporters are out there finding and telling the stories that matter. Every day, I talk to the talented journalists who are covering the topics, issues, and people that are important to Wyomingites. And in our daily newscast, I bring you their stories. Tune in to Cowboy State Daily video news every morning, only on cowboystatedaily.com.
Wyoming is a big state, There are so many stories to tell, and here at Cowboy State Daily, we pride ourselves in bringing those stories to you every day. I'm Riley Strand, videographer and production assistant for Cowboy State Daily Video News. Every day, host Wendy Corr and I talk to the experienced journalists who are covering the topics, issues, and people that are important to Wyomingites. And in our daily newscast, we bring you their stories. Tune in to Cowboy State Daily Video News every morning, only on cowboystatedaily.com.
This is the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
Meet Norm. He lives with anxiety, but with the help of this latest innovation from Be Normal, he can be normal, just like everyone else. With the swipe of a finger, you can project happiness, confidence, machismo. Why settle for being real when you can be normal? The Normal Maker, new from Be Normal. This item doesn't really work because there's no such thing as normal. We're all different. What we like, how our brains work. In fact, 1 in 5 of us live with mental illness. Don't filter who you are. Start by talking to someone you trust. And remember, there is no normal.
Nestled between Casper Mountain and the North Platte River, you'll find the heart of Wyoming. With a bustling downtown centered around our outdoor haven, Casper is for adventurers, freedom seekers, and rule breakers who find beauty off the beaten path. So if touchable history, a vibrant community, and uninterrupted outdoor recreation define your travel itinerary, allow us to welcome you to the one and only Casper, Wyoming. Plan your trip at visitcasper.com.
Love is a lesson that doesn't end. It knows no conditions, so you better buckle in. Love keeps you on your toes. It never stops, only grows. Love isn't easy. It's a commitment, especially when they're being their most resistant. Love is being prepared for the journey ahead. Love doesn't let any concerns go unsaid. Love is finding the right seat so you can take a breath. But remember, love isn't lax. It always double checks. Check that your kids are in the right seat at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Love protects.
All right, welcome back. Back to the Zoom room. Ladies and gentlemen, special guest in the studio, or on the Zoom studio, I should say, and your host of every Saturday morning, Mr. John Bagot with Cowboy State Daily Saturday mornings. John, it's been a little bit, but we just talked a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you were kind enough to sub for your buddy Bags
Of
while I
course.
played with my nephews down in Denver with Metallica on stage, and it's nice to have somebody as good and as competent and interesting and entertaining as you to fall back on when life calls.
You're just buttering me up. You're just buttering me up.
I am, and so is Jake. I'm sure appreciates it too. You're doing a great job. I got to listen to some of the show this morning, and I'm just a buzzing. I wish I was headed down to Cheyenne to see Ian Munsick
Yeah.
headline tonight. I don't know if you heard the show last week, but I had his brother Tris Munsick on, and he brought his guitar in my little studio here, and he played 3 songs. And of course, you can go there. We have all our shows are archived, so if anybody wants to check that out, they can. But we talked about the family and Ian and how proud they are of him, and the fact that Tris Munsick and the Innocents, his band, are right now performing in Europe. They're on a European tour, Germany, Austria, Luxembourg, etc. And I just saw on Facebook, Shireen, oh man, is he representing? So there he was in front of this ancient German, cathedral, and in your mind's eye, you can see, because everything there is ancient, and in front of it there's a cowboy hat and Wranglers, cowboy boots, and you representing. So
I love it.
I know for sure that because we have a son who's going to be on the show tomorrow, by the way.
Your kids are fascinating, by the way. John's kids are fascinating, so make sure you tune
Yeah, a
in.
little odd, but they call where we live, Shireen, Cowboy land. They're Dutch. And so we'll talk to Alex about that a little bit tomorrow. But yeah, so Tris Munsick and the Innocents are touring Europe while his younger brother, he is the oldest of the three, all of them being very, very skilled musicians and entertainers and wonderful in their own right. And of course, their pop, Dave, he's also very talented. I've seen all of them perform except for Sam in the middle, and I'll make a point of doing that. So the Munsick family is just incredible, and we are so proud of the fact that they are headlining Cheyenne Frontier Days starting tonight. Wow, I can't believe it's here.
Yeah, just so you know, Ian Munsick has Travis Tritt with him. Just to put it in perspective, Ian Munsick is the headliner. Travis Tritt is your secondary guest. For Brooks and Dunn is the main guest. Chancey Williams is the secondary. So yes, Ian
Right.
is able to.
Well, I'm proud of Chancey
yeah.
too.
Yeah, both
I
of them.
followed his rodeo career, got a little reminder of Chris Ledoux, where you're actually a competing cowboy and then eventually you start singing about it. And I'm so old, I got to see Chris Ledoux both rodeo and perform on stage. So
Wow.
that's kind of chancy. So
Yeah, definitely.
we are well represented, us Wyoming folks, at our own Daddy of them all, Cheyenne Frontier Days. Can't wait.
Can you believe, back to, since you mentioned Chris Ledoux, I'm bummed. I had Ned Ledoux on the show when I filled in for you, but bummed that no longer will they be doing the Chris Ledoux Days in Casey. It's done. 15 years, yeah, done. Right?
We are bummed. We've done that event a couple of times. Friends of ours from Glen Rock would pull their trailer up here, and we'd stay like literally 2 blocks from, the Main Street, I guess it was, where the main stage was. And so it was just so easy and fun. And that little bitty town would more than quadruple in size. And it was such a great festival honoring a great man, just a legend, Chris Ledoux. And I just the other day ran into, I don't know if you ever watched those reaction videos they have on YouTube. And what it is like rappers or metalheads, people who don't listen to country music, and they sample it. So somebody writes into them and says, "Hey, here's a song you ought to listen to," and they listen to some great songs, and many of them have converted into big time country music fans because of it.
Nice.
But anyway, just the other day I ran into one of those couple of rappers, good guys. They listened to Chris Ledoux do "This Old Hat."
Aw.
Yeah. And, at first they were kind of chuckling about it because, it kind of stereotyped. And then as it got on, and all of a sudden they started talking about how country music is storytelling. And I was like, yes, the good stuff is. And of course, that song in particular is telling a story, a great story, especially if you're a little bit macho.
Yeah.
And because, it's about him not putting up with some BS about his cowboy hat. So I liked it. And I still listen to Chris Ledoux. So.
Me too. Do you know why they stopped doing Chris Ledoux Days? Ned sounded like it was just time to stop, or?
Yeah, I think that's the gist I got, because I asked around, and it was 20 years of putting on this event, and the family, of course, Ned has tours, and it required a lot of commitment from a lot of people, and as the family has grown up and out, that have different lives and they're in different places, it became more and more burdensome to do it, and to do it well. They didn't want to do it and be kind of half-assed. They wanted to to be great every time, and I think that was it. I don't think there was anything else other than they felt like they had run its course. They gave it their best effort, and it was time to move on. So
Okay.
I would be not be surprised if they figure out something else to do regularly to honor our very own Chris Ledoux.
I hope so. John, I have a dilemma this morning. I have 10 minutes exactly to make a decision on whether or not I trapped a raccoon last night in my trap. Now, here's the deal. I went outside.
Sounds like a country problem to me.
It is a country problem, and you probably deal with raccoons up at the cabin from time to time.
Oh, yeah.
I want to let it
And
out.
woodchucks.
I want to let it go, but Chad, my fiance, said, "Don't let it go. I'm going to be home in 10 minutes. I don't need it to turn around and attack you." It's so cute, though. I wanted to get rid of it because some raccoon attacked my turkey. But now I looked at it. I don't know. I want to let it go.
I think you better get a more soft-hearted guest on next. I'm kind of with your husband. They're varmints, and
so cute though.
Once they get a taste for your trash can, they'll be back.
Well,
trust me on that.
They got a taste for my turkey. One of them ripped the drumstick off of one of my turkeys. He survived. Yeah, he survived.
Now you're talking. I'd be after the revenge aspect of it. We didn't even get to that part, so I don't know. I'm not. I mean, it would be my responsibility if it happened around here to take care of it. But I've chased raccoons away, and I'm very proud of the fact that one time we had one up in a tree, in a pine tree by the cabin, and I was on our porch, and he was up in the tree, and I'm going to exaggerate and say he was about 30 feet away, and there was right next to the steps of the cabin, there was a stone on the ground, and Deb's standing next to me. In fact, she's in the other room as my witness. And she goes, "Oh, there's a raccoon there." I pick up the rock and throwing it, thinking that I was going to scare it. Nailed it. Knocked him right out of the tree. And the fact that I'm talking about it probably 5 or 6 years later tells you how proud of that moment I still am.
Your home run, hitting the raccoon.
Hey, got him. But he was okay. He hit the ground and scurried off, but he knew who he was messing with.
Yeah.
After that,
Chad texted me and said, "Don't let him out. I don't want him to turn around and attack you." I'm like, "Would he really do that?" I mean,
oh yeah. Listen, I've got a thing against animals with opposable thumbs, all of them.
Yeah, he opens all of my food, like
I'm telling you, any animal. I'm serious. I'm about that with monkeys. I'm about that with raccoons and anything, because I think, God should have just left it for us, because they can grab stuff, and they, I just don't trust animals that have opposable thumbs. I like paws or hooves on my animals.
There you go.
Not claws
or talons.
Can get you. Or talons.
Yeah, my turkeys have talons, but he didn't kill the turkey, and I don't know if it was that raccoon, but I guess if I just let Chad deal with it, I don't want to hear the gunshot or anything like that. And I'm okay with the fact that animals have to. I know, living on a farm, I've already been faced with that. My dog passed away with a tractor accident here at the house. My puppy, he got run over. So I'm getting the the experience with death that all farmers and ranchers and folks that live out, they deal with.
I think it's healthy.
Yeah, so
I really do.
I do too, because I've had a fear of death for a long time.
Well, I think kids, young people out here in the West, especially, and especially those that grow up on farms and ranches, they see the circle of life in its entirety, top to bottom, and then they see the pecking order of animals, predators and so on. I think it's healthy, because then when it hits you, God forbid, somebody you love, something you love, you've been through it to a certain point, and you're able to make that connection that all things die.
Yep.
And you've seen it happen. And so I think I've told people this. I have a lot of family back east and so forth. When they see things on TV, YouTube, like bisons fighting elk, going at it, that's nature, and it's real, and it involves life and death on a daily basis. And so I think it's a healthy thing for young people to see. It's sad. Yeah. I mean, I remember when Angus passed away. He was my black lab, probably 2 years now. I think I scared the vet techs that were involved with when we had to put him down, because I was wailing like an Iranian woman crying so hard because he was my best buddy.
Yeah.
It's hey, and it happens to everybody, and you got to get through that. But
Yeah.
sorry to hear that about your puppy.
Yeah, but that like you mentioned, I think it's healthy for me to learn these things, and I of course would wish I had my dog, but in this instance, my turkey got attacked by the raccoon. I had one turkey die from some disease, so I am learning a little bit. And then I butchered my pigs last year. I did okay with that, and I only did okay with that because when I went to put them into the horse trailer to send them to the butcher, they were such pains in the butt. They had never been a pain in the butt
Yeah,
up until that
they earn,
moment. They earned
they
it.
deserve to die.
Oh, I don't want to put it that way, but I did provide a lot of pork in my house for in the freezer, which was nice. So I am learning a little bit, John, but I do think I love being able to talk to you. I know you have your dad hat on at times. I know you have your husband hat on at times, and then you have your man hat on at times. And so it's good to kind of get that perspective from you. And I think Chad will probably kill the raccoon, but I'd rather just
Kill the raccoon.
let it
Kill
go
the raccoon.
let it go somewhere. Can't I just pack it somewhere else and let it go? But they say they'll come back because
No.
they're so smart.
Well, they are, and once they know where the food is, they're going to come back. That's just what they do. Yeah. So I was going to just give a heads up on the show tomorrow on who's on. You got a
Awesome.
second for me to
Yes. No,
share?
I wanted to ask you that. Perfect.
You bet. All right. Well, the first hour, so I check in with Chris Verba regularly. He is the communications director with the Sheridan Community Land Trust, and they're the ones that build and maintain the trail system around here. So early on, he's back east right now. So he agreed to get up early, 8 o'clock. I have no qualms about getting people up at 8 o'clock. Are you kidding me?
Right?
Anyway, he's going to come on. We're going to talk about the trail system. Sheridan's been blessed. I saw the report from Don Day. We have had a good, wet, late winter, spring, and early summer.
Good.
So around here, things are very green. There's still some snow up on the peaks in the Bighorn Mountains, and the trails are. Some of them have taken a beating with some of the moisture we've had, but also they've opened up some new ones, and we're going to talk about that and about maintaining and about treating the trail system with respect, because some of them are in cooperation with private landowners who have donated access to these trails through their private property, which I think is a miracle, and so appreciative, because some of the places I get to hike with Deb, that's something we like to do together. It is through private property that you would normally not get to see. So that's in the 6 hour. And then Paul Wallop, you might recognize that name. Paul Wallop is the son of Senator Malcolm Wallop, legendary politician here in this state, on the Mount Rushmore of Wyoming, great, politicians, senators. And Paul's going to be on the show. We're going to talk about that family legacy and the fact the ranch, the circle, the quarter circle Lazy Bee Ranch that is iconic ranch at the right at the base of the Bighorns in the valley of the Little Goose Creek is for sale.
Oh,
If you got
wow.
somebody with $28 million, have them give me a call. Remember, I'm in the real estate business.
That's right. Get that commission. Call John.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the family and some of the people that he's met because of his father's relationship. They have royalty, British royalty in their family line, the Wallop family. So we're going to talk to Paul Wallop in the 7 o'clock hour, and then 8 o'clock. You might find this interesting. Pat Woodard, who I worked with for years at KOA Radio in Denver. Boy, he's an interesting cat. He's primarily the business money editor for KOA. He does reporting. He's a producer, big time media guy for decades. But also, one of the things I'm watching one day with Deb, we watch Jeopardy if we can every day.
Love it.
And I'm watching Jeopardy one day, and there pops up Pat Woodard on Jeopardy with Alex Trebek. So it's been a few years, but that's how loaded with
Cool.
trivia Pat Woodard is. And he's going to be on the show. And I'm going to ask him about meeting Alex Trebek and what that experience is like being on Jeopardy. So that's in my 8 o'clock hour. 9 o'clock, as I teased earlier, Alexander Douglas Bagot. He got that name because I thought it sounded presidential. Alexander Douglas. And then he is, as I've told you before, he's a professional actor. He teaches Shakespeare and theater in the Amsterdam school system there in the Netherlands. And he is the director, founder of a theater troupe called Reckless Shakespeare, and they put performances on all over Holland and parts of Germany, etc. But he's also putting together a tour company. So we're going to talk about Americans abroad.
Sweet.
And the do's and don'ts and you shouldn'ts when you're traveling in Europe, because Alex has his opinion sometimes on how we as Americans are perceived. And so that you know, he does defend us. He does he does stand up for us when they have their opinions on the ugly Americans sometimes. So Alex is going to come on, and we're going to talk about that and maybe some of his good. I know what his worst tour was. His worst tour, because he was a tour guide in Chicago, where he met Sophie, the Dutch lady who took him away from us to Holland.
Oh, right.
He was a tour guide at the time. And then he became a tour guide in Amsterdam when he first got over there before he got the teaching gig and some of these other things. But so he's got a big background as a tour guide. And I asked him one time, to tell us, he does stand-up comedy too. And in his act, he talks about some of the tours that he's given and the people that he's met. And I asked him, what's the worst? And he said, you. And he meant us, our family, because so we show up and he's giving us the tour of Amsterdam. The first time we went over when he was there, we had been there before, but that was before he had met Sophie. And he told us that we argued with him about everything. We challenged him on what he knew. Instead of him being the expert, we were constantly haranguing him. And so he told us we were the worst tour, his family, that he had ever given.
Good for him being honest, John. Well,
Yeah.
you do such a great job. I just want to mention, I mentioned this with Wendy, and I feel like I have mentioned this too many times. But when we have folks that want to bring you a live show on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, I think, which might be coming soon with Cowboy State
Yep.
Daily,
We're working on it with Jeff Riggett.
that means a
Jeff Riggett.
lot. That means a lot. A lot of folks aren't doing those things, John. There is not a Saturday morning live show in a lot of places, in a lot of markets across the country. There are not dedicated media people that are willing to change stories in the middle of the night and get me that news for the morning show here. So I just want to give you a shout out in particular, John, for every Saturday morning being, you're live, you're here. You have to work Saturday mornings. That can't be pre-recorded. You'd have to be in studio no matter what. And to be able to provide that service for folks, I love seeing that because it makes me feel like media is still alive.
Well, to be honest, I appreciate that very much. Thank you. But I'm having a ball too.
Good. Good.
Occasionally it's a struggle. What am I going to talk about in the 6 a.m. hour when nobody wants? Well, that's why I get a lot of people back east or in another country.
Right. That's smart. Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm picking topics that I think are interesting. And so it gives me an opportunity. Ooh, that's a good one. I do that with your show. That's why I watch it. I see, well, what's she talking about? And if it's interesting and entertaining, I'll go after it and try to find somebody, an expert in that field, and have it as a topic of mine. And then it's just for me, being in this business for 40 plus years, and I had kind of moved away from it after they shut down the operation here, Bighorn Mountain Radio in Sheridan, and I missed it. And so, give kudos and shout out and a high five to Jimmy Orr for reaching out to his buddy Bags and saying, "Hey, do you still got the itch to do some radio?"
Good.
And like I said, it's fun. Sometimes it's if I don't get a guest on and it's just me
Yeah, that's
for
intense.
an hour, which is okay, I feel sorry for the audience.
No, you do a great job, and that's really actually very difficult to talk for an hour. I always said, news talk folks were always, it's always one of the toughest businesses to be in media.
I was around some of the greats in Denver, and I was so always talking about Peter Boyles, Mike Rosen. There's the brain dead Bags, but some great talk show hosts in Denver. 850 KOA was the sports station and the talk station, so I was able to see how it's done and done well. So not even approaching that, but doing what I can with it.
I love it. Well, tomorrow morning, bright and early, you can catch John. You can also catch him on the radio waves across the state. Find him on YouTube as well, or on socials for Cowboy State Daily. John, we'll talk to you soon.
Good to see you, Shireen.
Good to
the
see
Adventure
you.
Queen.
Thanks for the raccoon advice.
Yeah. Bye, raccoon.
Poor guy. See ya.
From Yellowstone to Devil's Tower, the Bighorn Mountains to the Teton Range, Cheyenne to Sheridan, Rawlins to Ralston, Cowboy State Daily Morning Show covers the state like no other radio show or podcast. We love Lovell. We're eager to share the stories of Story, Will Crow About Crowheart, and Yodel Over Yoder. Whether you make your home in Sweetwater, Chugwater, Powder River, or Green River, the Cowboy State Daily Morning Show will make you feel right at home. Jeffrey City, Atlantic City, we see you. Little America, Big Piney, you're on our radar. Howdy, Wapiti, Meeteetse, Shoshone, Ten Sleep, good morning, welcome, Torrington, Riverton, Wheatland, Lusk, Lingle, Lander, Timber, Casey, Kerwin, Moorcroft, Mountain View, Moose, Fort Bridger, Fort Laramie, Fort Washington, Hannah, Hudson, Hewlett, Dayton, Daniel, and DuBois. We are east of Weston, west of Midwest, north of Newcastle, and south of Sundance. Border to border, we love Wyoming and every one of its communities, bar none.
You're listening to the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
Wyoming is a place of unlimited potential, a place that inspires us to dream. Since 2014, WyoLotto has given back over $180 million to our great state through transfers, winnings, commissions, and more. Dollars that have gone directly into your cities, towns, and counties. Dollars that have changed lives and set dreams in motion. Thank you, Wyoming, for a legendary 10 years. We can't wait to dream up what's next.
Year after year, we continue to serve new neighbors across our state.
For over 40 years, our trust and wealth management services have grown our roots in Casper.
And now we're excited to have offices in 3 Wyoming cities.
We're here to help you achieve your financial goals
and provide the kind of service that you expect from a Wyoming business.
Because at Hilltop Bank, community means Wyoming.
One more time before you wake up in the wild. In your eyes, I see a flower slowly dying.
Together with the Nature Conservancy, you have the power to make a difference. For unspoiled nature, for beautiful wildlife, and for people everywhere. Together, we can find a way to ensure that all life on Earth can thrive.
Oh, in the wild, you're gonna make it. The moonlight is here to take you.
Our natural world needs us now. Every day, we lose more lands, waters, and the wild species that depend on them. To learn more, visit nature.org today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, back in the Zoom room. I'm so excited. I can't believe she even has time to talk to us this morning with the 129th Daddy of them all kicking off. But we have Shelley joining the show, and Shelley is the Cheyenne Frontier Days Public Relations Chairwoman. And how are you this morning?
I am great. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited. Like I said, I'm surprised you even have the time. Probably working on zero sleep as you get ready for the big day, big evening. Things kick off. How are things going?
Really well, really well. Everybody, the park is a buzz. It's all happening, right? It's the carnival's there, and the corn dog stands are here, and the stage is pulled down. The teepees are up. We're ready.
How long, Shelley, are you guys really prepping for this event?
Yeah, as soon as the show is over, we go to retreat in September, and we start planning right then. We look at what went well for the show this year and what we need to change for next year, how to improve our customers' experience and make this something that they want to come back to every year.
Well, you know, it's on most folks' bucket lists if they haven't made it to Cheyenne Frontier Days, cfdrodeo.com. Any sold out shows or tickets still available for all the shows?
Right now, there's still tickets available. Towards the end of the week, it's getting a little heavier.
Right.
Megan Maroney's selling really well. Of course, Chancey Williams and Brooks and Dunn. The beginning of the week's a little bit lighter, but oh my gosh, sometimes those are the best shows.
I agree.
The ones that people don't anticipate. So yeah.
Well, whether it's, you know, a rodeo action, carnival, the live music, the Western heritage too. You guys have added some stuff in the cowboy and Western heritage world as well.
Right. And now we're working on the new Morning Star Indian Village that's under construction, so you can't miss it. It's a giant construction zone in our main parking lot. So some challenges, but boy, it's going to be great next year.
That's when it'll be ready for next year.
Yes,
Cross
it
your
will.
fingers. In my toes.
Yeah.
Shelley, like I said earlier, I think it's fantastic that you've taken the time this morning to join the Cowboy State Daily Morning Show. Are there any important things that folks need to remember this year for CFD?
There are. As I mentioned, the parking lot is kind of an issue. So parking has been one of the things we've talked to a lot of people about. My best advice is just to leave early. Every time, if you're coming to the park, leave early, give yourself that time because we don't want you to be late for your event. The park and ride on Missile Drive and I-25 is an amazing option. It's cheaper. It's a safe ride home after if you've had a beverage or two. And you don't have to mess with the parking. You just let somebody else take care of that. So that's what I would suggest.
And then extra, I had read or somebody told me that a lot of drivers from the Denver area with Uber and Lyft kind of mosey on up closer to Cheyenne to help with those kinds of
Yes.
things as well.
And I think they're going to be busy this year, especially with that. And that's another great option. Why not?
Yeah.
Just let someone else do it.
Exactly. And she mentioned, you know, parking is whether you have the construction or not, Shelley. I always say I'd rather get a ride no matter what. So if you
Yep,
can do that,
for
do
sure.
it. Yeah. Shuttle information, cfdrodeo.com.
It is. And the shuttle lot is open at 10:30 every morning and it runs all the way till 12:30 in the morning the next day, except for that last night. And then that one closes at 6 because the park closes early then. But yeah,
Shelley, how long have you been helping with Cheyenne Frontier Days?
this is my 34th year.
What?
I know.
You don't
I know.
What did you start when you were a child or what?
Oh, bless your heart. No, I was 23 and yeah, so do that math if you want. But yeah, so 34 years is
Wow.
crazy. Yeah.
So
So all in the same committee with public relations and then honored to be the chair now. This is my second year, so I'll have this one and one more hopefully.
I feel like the long-standing longevity of your board and yourself really makes this run more seamless than maybe some other events. I've been a part of big events in the media realm, but when you have the same people working year in, year out together, it just makes the event so much better.
Well, I think you're right. And it's nice for us too, because we see people every year and they come back and they're like, oh, I saw you at the event center or wherever last year. So we have those connections when people do come back. And it's even if we're not in that same role, which, you know, we turn over all the time, at least it's a friendly face when they walk on the park.
Well,
So
Shelley, being an extreme CFD veteran yourself, do you have a favorite, like a favorite event or a favorite food or something you just look forward to
oh my,
every year? I know that's putting you on the spot.
yeah. No, it's okay. No, you got to have a corn dog every year. I can have one. The Indian tacos over in the Indian
Oh,
Village are amazing. Everybody seems to. I know they've gone up a little bit in price as everything has, but you got to have at least one. Um, I love the rides. I know I'm a little older than I used to be, but I love going and playing on the rides with our kids and friends and whatnot. And of course the rodeo and the night shows. It's all great.
you know
And
what?
and I like that there's some free stuff for families too. So,
Oh,
you've got the parades, the
yes.
pancake breakfasts off park. You can go unwind at the Sidewinder Saloon on Old Frontier Town. There's live music right there, refreshments right around there, and then in the garden, once you get onto the into the fairgrounds, there's the garden. So,
You know what I loved Chancey Williams shared a video of him riding bulls at CFD years ago, and now he's going to be on stage on the 23rd.
can you
How
believe it?
isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is very cool, and he's the nicest guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, we've had the honor of meeting him and just visiting, and he's so down to earth, and we're so excited he's coming back for us.
Well, thank you for supporting our local Wyomingites, even though like Ian Munsick is so famous and popular, Chancey Williams the same as well. But just to have our Wyoming musicians on stage for CFD, I know means a lot to me personally.
It does us too, yeah, and to see them sporting that buckle even later in different events, it means a lot to us to see that
It
too. So
gives you all the feels, Shelley, because
all
this
of
is your
them,
baby. You've been 30 plus years. Wow.
yeah.
That's incredible. Well, I hope you just have a wonderful 129th Cheyenne Frontier Days. I hope every day is spectacular. I hope you get to enjoy, even though you're working as well. And thanks for taking the time today.
Oh, I absolutely, and thank you for having me. Can I just give a big shout out to all the volunteers who have helped put this park together because I mean, we get to walk around and in an outfit, but they're the ones that are doing the work right now, and we couldn't do it without them and our headquarters staff. So
How many volunteers? Do you have a ballpark? I imagine it's hundreds and hundreds.
it's about 3,000.
What?
Yeah, yeah, 3,000, and of course they're not all here at the same time, but
Yeah. Wow.
they're shifts on all the different committees on and off the park. So
I love
it's amazing.
volunteers. I love them. Thank you so much, Shelley, for
Yeah, you bet.
giving me the goosebumps too with how many I didn't realize how many volunteers you had to make this thing run. But appreciate them, appreciate you, appreciate the committee as well. And hopefully we'll talk to you again.
Okay, I hope so.
Thanks, Shelley.
Thanks.
Have a good one. Bye bye.
You
Oh, that was cool. I did not think I was going to be able to chat with anybody from CFD, and lo and behold, Shelley joined the morning show here and could not have asked for a better person. Shelley's been involved with CFD for 30 plus years, so she really obviously has a great indication of how things go, the pulse on the community as well, and just such a big deal because guess what? The 129th daddy of them all for CFD kicks off later tonight with Wyoming's very own Ian Munsick. And joining Ian is Travis Tritt. Ian's the headliner, though. Pretty cool for that. And then Travis Tritt is assisting and his special guest. And so just love seeing that. John was on the show, Mr. Beggs, who has his Saturday morning show. He lives in the Sheridan area, so connected with the Munsick family in general. Had Tris Munsick on the show, too. So we just love supporting our local Wyoming musicians. There's lots of ways to do that, but CFD is doing their part, having our Wyoming folks on the main stage, which is extra cool. So I hope you're having a great time wherever you're at. Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy this beautiful weekend. If you're in central Wyoming, big shout out for the balloon rally and all the volunteers and folks that help make that happen. The Friday night cruise later tonight, they'll do the balloon glow as well. And also Lander, Wyoming, one of the big gateways to Yellowstone National Park in Grand Teton, has their Lander pig roast tomorrow, and that involves some free lunch. You can enjoy that, some great music, vendors, and more. So it's kind of a crazy happening time in Fremont County this weekend in particular, as you have the balloon rally that's going on. You have the Lander Pig Roast. You also have some other small events that are happening this weekend. The Soapbox Derby, where a bunch of kids and adults make these cool cars. We have a big foam party that's happening here. So there is no shortage of events in Wyoming in the summertime. So I need to go feed the pigs. I've got the raccoon. I haven't heard a gunshot yet, so I don't know if the raccoon is still with us or not, but I don't want, it's so cute. I don't want to hurt the raccoon, but it tried to kill one of my turkeys and it ate all my turkey food and it ripped open my pig feed bag. So he might have to go. So I'll give you an update on what happens with the raccoon next time I see you. But speaking of no shortage of dull moments here at the Funny Farm. I'm Shireen, the Adventure Queen, filling in for Jake. It's been wonderful. Have a great weekend. And remember, if you're on the road, 2 hands on the wheel, 2 eyes on the 2 hands on the wheel, 2 eyes on the road. Don't drive distracted.